blessings. Thank you.
Members' motion with no legislative effect. Dr. Starry LEE's motion on seizing strategic opportunities to promote the integrated development of education, technology, talents in Hong Kong. 4 members remove amendments to the motion. This council will proceed to a joint debate on the motion and the amendments. Later, I will first call upon Dr. Starry LEE to speak and move the motion. Then I will call upon Professor Chow, Ms. Chen Yuet-ming, Mr. Dennis Leung, and Professor Priscilla Leung to speak in sequence, but they may not move the amendments at this stage. The joint debate now begins. Members who wish to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. I now call upon Dr. Starry LEE to speak and move the motion. President, I move that the motion as printed on the agenda be passed. President Xi Jinping said in the report of the 20th Central Committee of the CPC, education, technology, and talents are very important. It mentions that talent is built on education, and education can foster science and technology development. We need to invigorate our country through science and drive development in this area. We need to groom talents for the country. We need to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents to build a strong education country. This is an important strategy to build China into a strong country in education. The 2024 to 2035 Master Plan on building China into a leading country in education sets out the important direction. The Hong Kong SAR government does quite a lot. First of all, we have set up the Committee on Education, Technology, and Talent, which is responsible for coordinating and driving the integrated development of these 3 areas. The ITIB also rolled out the schemes combining research, academic, and industry sectors in order to drive development. There were different scholarships to attract and groom INT talents. However, if we need to drive the integrated development of education, technology, and talents, apart from the above measures, we need to do more in relation to education, technology, and talents. We need to drive reforms in order to make greater contributions to the country, making good use of our strengths. We are in an important period of strategic opportunity for the country's INT as well as talent development. So I move the motion today. I hope that we can make good use of the Legislative Council to collect views from different quarters of the community. We want to spark discussions in the community and encourage different sectors of the community to take part in this important drive. Tertiary institutions have achieved great results in relation to INT. On the QS list, many Hong Kong universities rank very high. Dissertations are quoted around the world. We have achieved remarkable results. In relation to science and education integration, there is still much room for improvement. In tertiary institutions, many outstanding R&D outcomes stay at the level of dissertation. They haven't been able to be commercialized and transformed. This will limit the potential of INT in Hong Kong. Therefore, in order to promote the integrated development of education and science as well as industry, I'd like to make some suggestions. One, we should encourage high-caliber INT talents to engage in applied research and development projects with economic prospects and commercial values. I suggest that we should encourage some professors to engage in research and development projects with economic prospects. We need to add applied research and development into the projects as well as the appraisal of the teaching staff in tertiary institutions. We need to encourage cross-disciplinary courses. There are different faculties as well as schools at universities. Industrial research, scientific research, one single discipline might be difficult to cater for the demands of society. We do need cross-disciplinary innovative research as well as collaboration in order to cater for societal demands. So we need to encourage cross-departmental and cross-disciplinary laboratories in order to provide sufficient hardware support. I understand some universities have tried this method. The UST in Guangzhou tried to adopt a cross-disciplinary teaching method. It doesn't adopt the traditional concept of faculty of engineering as well as the faculty of science. They use Despite many challenges ahead, this is still a bold move. We need to set up collaboration between institutions and enterprises. Right now, we have the UGC that is responsible for the university courses in Hong Kong. Of course, when we have positive competition, this is indeed very good. Say we can see keen competition among universities in relation to a third medical school in Hong Kong. In view of the latest international landscape, probably in relation to some R&D projects, we need cross-disciplinary and cross-institution research and collaboration. We need to do more on this. The administration, especially the Education Bureau, should explore encouraging positive competition while at the same time encouraging different universities to work together on some R&D projects to make greater contributions to the country. We have a lot of world-class talent as well as a wealth of research and development resource. There's a lack of interaction among different institutions. Collaboration between industry and education needs to be enhanced. The administration has already worked on this. While I understand quite many universities in other countries have already set up industry-oriented school. It is like a micro factory of modernization. It is a training base for talents, and it also serves as a platform to commercialize R&D outcomes. Graduates can engage in R&D initiatives after graduation. We are in the middle of economic transformation. Tertiary institutions receive a lot of subsidies from the administration. We have a lot of high-caliber technology talents. They can help Hong Kong to transform, and they can even make greater contributions to Hong Kong. I hope the relevant bureaus of the administration can seriously consider how to drive this development. The administration should create conditions to attract world-class, high-caliber scientists to Hong Kong to set up laboratories and engage in R&D projects. We need to work towards this goal. We also need to work on the collaboration framework in relation to double first-class universities. In relation to the construction of double first class, we need to align with the world. In the Northern Metropolis University town, some universities can invite other world-class universities to work together in order to achieve the goal of internationalization. In the interest of time, I'd like to hear from members, and then I will give my concluding remarks. I now propose a question to you that Dr. Starry Lee's motion be passed.
Professor Honorable Chow Kong, I think Ms. Lee's motion is meaningful. On the basis of her motion, I'd like to add 3 elements. First of all, institutionally speaking, we should remove the long-standing restrictions imposed by universities on knowledge transfer, that is, commercialization of scientific research outcomes. We should also promote the collaboration among government, industry, academic, and research sectors. I'm asking for the removal of the restrictions rather than the easing of the restrictions. We need to know that we invest heavily in our innovation and technology. We cannot afford to delay anymore. We must work from the top, so that we must ask for the removal of the restrictions on the commercialization of scientific research results. We need to incentivize them. Otherwise, at the end of the day, we'll fail in becoming a hub for innovation and technology. For a long time, researchers are being discouraged from having R&D outcomes commercialized. As a result, the R&D outcomes cannot leave Hong Kong or be commercialized in Hong Kong. Say, for example, Dajiang's drones, etc. All such are good examples. They can only be commercialized when they leave Hong Kong. So our achievement has been tarnished. We have got 5 among the top 100 universities in the world. In fact, in an American patent ranking last year, in fact, only 3 of our universities rank among the first 100, 12 on the mainland, and in fact 6 in South Korea and 4 in Taiwan. So we are lagging behind. For the R&D strength of our universities, I don't think we are doing very well. Well, in fact, currently for universities, they have imposed different sorts of restrictions on their research outcomes. I think they would give top priority to the publication of academic papers, and then for the patents, for the benefits reaped, and for the engagement of outside work. Well, in fact, that means commercialization of research outcomes. All such are being bound by a lot of restrictions. It is unfair to the research staff. And then universities don't like their research staff to take part in non-Hong Kong research or studies, even from the mainland. And in fact, their salary will be cut as a result of their participation. This will discourage them from taking part in such research, and then creativity would also be reduced, and this goes against the worldwide trend. Such are outdated restrictions. I think this is all because we have inherited them from the British Hong Kong government in the 70s and 80s of the last century. In fact, many places have relaxed the restrictions. In the American universities, professors are able to focus on their R&D for a certain period of time in a year, and then they can go back to their own teaching tasks. And in fact, in Guangzhou and Shenzhen, again, their researchers can have their can own their patents, and they can reap benefits from that. And through their research, they're able to generate tax revenue for the good of the nation. Shenzhen, they have got the best IP development and the largest number of patents is all because of their arrangements. So we need to have a change of mind. We can't simply just inject a lot of money into the educational sector and yet the R&D outcomes are not commercialized. We are standing still. We have to make sure that the Northern Metropolis University town can benefit from the overseas and mainland universities in Hong Kong. I think we need to promote cooperation among the institutions, both local as well as those from outside Hong Kong. And thirdly, we should encourage the following. That is, we should encourage more talents to come here to study at self-financing institutions for vocational and professional education training programs. I think mainland Macau and Taiwan students should be welcome, because Hong Kong is an aging society. We have to do a lot. We can benefit from their arrival. So I spoke. Next, Ms. Chen Yuet-ming. Thank you, President. I support the motion moved by Ms. Starry LEE. Education is of critical importance to the future of our country. Science and technology is the primary productive force, and talent is the primary resource. In 2024, the policy address talks about building Hong Kong into an international education hub, and we should become an international hub for post-secondary education. And they will become talents to support our innovation technology development. And we should develop the Study in Hong Kong brand. I think we should make sure that we have the right positioning. Now, Michigan University stopped its cooperation with Shanghai Jiao Tong University. It used to have 20 years of cooperation. I think it reflects the geopolitical tensions. I think for engineering and science related universities, I think we need to watch for the new changes. Today, I'm moving an amendment. This is because I want to follow up on the Northern Metropolis University town development. I hope that the development conceptual framework for the NMUT can be announced in this year. At the moment, we only know about the location. We don't have the details. In fact, it is said that in the first half of 2026, the development conceptual framework will be published. We haven't yet got the concepts, but then it means that we have to wait unduly long for its actual development. I hope the government will come up with the announcement soon, like the land use arrangements, the number of institutions to be accommodated, and we need to be told about the vision. Would it be for innovation technology, for emerging industries, etc., so that the tertiary institutions can plan accordingly. Dr. Chow Kong, in his amendment, said that we should attract mainland and overseas institutions to come here to cooperate with our local institutions. We need more details before we can follow up with them. And then for the university town, we need industrial support. For Macho Long area, it will be close to Santin. Will it be mainly for innovation technology to tie in with the He Innovation Park? And will it become a place for midstream transformation? And then for the NT North, it is also near to Sandy Ridge. So I think we should have more digital related programs like data analytics, etc. So we should develop new programs related to such themes. On the other hand, when we talk about the peripheral industries, I know there will be a number of emerging industries to be developed. But what about modern logistics industry? It seems that the government has forgotten about low-altitude economy. And what about life sciences? Our R&D is at the forefront. It seems that health science is lacking from the framework. And in fact, it has a lot to do with our livelihood. So I want to know more about the development of the university town. Things move very fast. In the past, we used to talk about the metaverse. Now we talk about AI. In a few years' time, maybe we'll be talking about something else. Therefore, we shouldn't be too restrictive. We should be flexible so that we can give more land for advanced manufacturing, so that we can cover more types of industries. So I spoke. Next, Mr. Dennis Leung. Thank you, Madam Deputy. I speak in support of the motion as well as the amendments. Since the establishment of the Chinese Communist Party, it attaches a lot of importance to the livelihood of our people as well as education. During the revolution, talents are treasured, talents are discovered and identified and nurtured. Now we're in a new era. The Central Committee attaches a lot of importance to education and talents. We would like to have people who are moral, civilized, etc. And they should have vision, they are determined, and they should have high virtues, and they are resilient, and they should have a broad outlook, and they are knowledgeable, and they're able to be enterprising. Well, the national government has been deepening its educational reform. In fact, talents of all sorts are given ample space to develop. Now, the socialism with Chinese characteristics is moving into a new era. President Xi is also giving utmost priority to education. And in fact, we have been investing heavily in innovation technologies as well as education. Well, I think in our motherland, innovation technology has made good achievements. And as far as nurturing talents, again, we have made a lot of progress. Well, we're able to alleviate poverty. And in fact, innovation technology is important in poverty eradication. Therefore, education, talents, innovation, technology would be important for our development. And of course, we are overseeing major changes. Competition among nations is in fact a competition on the basis of talents and science and technology. We must make sure that we have innovative talents, and we should have high quality education. Unless with high quality education, we cannot maintain our competitive edge, and then we can have an overall edge. Now, for the national government, we are having modernization on the basis of socialism. Talents will be important. We have to grasp this opportunity. We need to plan ahead, and we should have a broad view, and we should have vision, and we should tie in with the national strategies. In the past, the SARG has been reforming our educational system. School management has been fine-tuned and enhanced. Teaching quality and teaching resources have been improved. And in fact, for all stakeholders and for the young people, we just hope that the SARG would attach even more significance to education. Well, education undergoes a lot of changes. The government must be flexible and must change for the better, and then we will win at the end of the day. In my proposed amendment, there are 5 more elements to the original motion. I hope that we can complete the national task, treasure talents, nurture the talents, and maximize the potentials of the talents. I'm a secondary school teacher. I'm responsible for maths and IT. In the past, we used to have 2 different streams, science and arts. And of course, it is important. And as a result, our society can have sustainable development. But then with the arrival of the DSE, students just had too much freedom in electing subjects. And at that time, we didn't have a good idea. And as a result, today we have mismatch of talents, and we have shortages in manpower all over the place. So I hope we can make changes. We have to be strategic in the election of elective subjects. In particular, for talents in the field of science and technology, we need more of them. Otherwise, we cannot have a strong nation. And then for universities, there are 3 points I want to make. Universities must treasure the talents that they have identified. And then for the SARG, I know they have the integration of the government, academia, industry, investment, and industries. I think we need to have a single window for that so that we can commercialize the R&D outcomes. So I spoke.
Professor Priscilla LEUNG. Thank you, Deputy President. Thank you for moving this motion so that we can discuss this topic today in the Council. The Chief Executive said that the Chief Secretary for Administration would chair the Committee on Education, Technology and Talents. I'd like to focus on these 3 areas. It has to do with technology education. We must emphasize the interactions among the industry, education, and research so that we won't lag behind in relation to copyrights. However, I'd like to appeal to members that we need to attach importance to the education initiatives in relation to artificial intelligence AI. We must uphold humanities subjects. Otherwise, scientists may overlook the humanities aspect. They may overlook human values, civilization, as well as the spirit of the rule of law. In recent years, we need to verify. We were told by the police to verify the identity of the callers. There are all too many scams. AI technology is rampant. In early December, I organized a forum comprising the head of universities. We used AI to welcome our international friends as well as head of universities in 8 languages. All these are very good technologies, but then we need to recognize the challenges ahead. I agree with Professor Shandong that the development will be very rapid. While I have these robots or doll on my desk, we need to learn to live with such AI as well as robots. I hope that they will become the good friends of the humankind. When we feel lonely, these robots can become our great companions. We need to prevent brainwashing at the same time. We need to prevent our future generations from being brainwashed in relation to AI. Some of them may think the best buddies are their AI companions. We need to add a sense of human touch to future generations, even if they are science talents. That's exactly what we need to face in society. Apart from research and development, when AI comes, we need to know what changes universities will face. Do we still need universities in the future? Before all these happen, we need to have a good grasp of the technologies we invent. In the Summit of Heads of Universities in December, we have seen universities from all over the country. We need to appeal to high-caliber talents around the world who are mainly heads of universities to support AI education, complemented with a sense of human touch, human values, civilization, and so on. The software you order needs to uphold human values. In the promotion of technology education, it needs to align with the developments in society. I so submit. Thank you.
Secretary for Education. Deputy President, I thank Ms. Starry LEE for her motion and Dr. Chow Kong, Ms. Chen Yuet-ming, Mr. Dennis LEUNG, and Professor Priscilla LEUNG for their amendments. On the motion seizing strategic opportunities to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong, they've put forward their views and suggestions. Education is the cradle of talents, and talents are the driving force for Hong Kong's development. They help build Hong Kong into an international hub for post-secondary education, INT, and high-caliber talents, providing support for us to advance steadily in these areas. Our country has just released the 2024 to 2035 Master Plan on building China into a leading country in education. It mentions the need to establish a coordination mechanism to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talent. We need to strengthen the role of education in supporting the development of technology and talent to dovetail with the GBA's plan to build an INT center, a high-level talent cluster, and a platform for attracting talents so as to enhance the overall effectiveness of the innovation system. In his 2024 policy address, the Chief Executive proposed to set up a committee on education, technology, and talent to coordinate and drive the integrated development of education, technology, and talent, expand connections, formulate policies to attract and cultivate talent, foster the development of technologies, and also promote Hong Kong as an international hub for high-caliber talents. We believe that in order to realize our vision, it's necessary to link up the existing policies of various policy bureaus and through focused discussions bring together ideas and formulate enhancement measures so that we can advance towards development and prosperity. Today I'll talk about the major education-related policy initiatives in addressing the motion. The Innovation, Technology and Industry Bureau and the Labor and Welfare Bureau are here to listen to members' views, and they will speak after the debate. On basic research, in Ms. Lee's original motion and other members' amendments, there is mention that the government should vigorously promote the development of innovative research in Hong Kong, so as to turn Hong Kong into a globally influential hub for scientific research and innovation. Indeed, the basic research capabilities of our higher education institutions are an important starting point for the upstream development of innovative scientific research. Therefore, I'd like to give a brief introduction on the development of basic research in these institutions, and I'll invite the Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry to supplement in his closing speech on the transformation and application of the research outcomes in the midstream and downstream sectors. The Research Grants Council under the University Grants Committee has been actively promoting cross-institutional or cross-disciplinary collaborations among Hong Kong's higher education institutions. There are also a number of collaborative research funding schemes that encourage researchers and research teams of local universities to collaborate with those from local, mainland, and overseas universities to promote academic research collaborations. The UGC has been encouraging and supporting the higher education sector in Hong Kong to conduct researches with great social significance and high economic and social benefits to bring about positive impacts and contributions to the community. For the various research funding schemes administered by the Research Grants Council, or RGC, these are part of the requirements. The RGC has also set up the Research Impact Fund to promote work in this respect. Close collaborations and exchanges with the research sector in the mainland is crucial to the strategy of invigorating the country through science and education. Since 1996, local universities have set up joint laboratories with the Chinese Academy of Sciences to promote collaboration in scientific research and exchange of talents between the two places. To further promote the development of the research sector and encourage collaboration between talents in Hong Kong and the mainland in major research projects, the RGC actively participates in the evaluation of joint laboratories established between the Academy and the 6 local universities and provides funding support to the labs with outstanding performance. On collaboration in providing education services, in Ms. Lee's motion, there is mention about improving the framework for cooperation between the higher education institutions in the two places, as well as the arrangements for mutual recognition of academic degrees. At present, the Hong Kong Baptist University, the Chinese University of Hong Kong, the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and so on, have campuses in Zhuhai, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Dongguan, respectively, offering undergraduate or postgraduate courses in different areas. Hong Kong institutions have signed cooperation frameworks or agreements with top mainland universities to promote cross-institutional exchanges and research collaborations, thereby building a new academic structure At the same time, to strengthen the cooperation with mainland's VPAT providers and the articulation pathways, the government has been working with the mainland authorities to take forward the mutual recognition of sub-degree level qualifications. On STEAM education, Professor Priscilla LEUNG's and Mr. Dennis LEUNG's amendments touch on STEAM education, which is closely related to INT. We've been striving for excellence and have continued to vigorously promote STEAM education in primary and secondary schools. We introduced the subject of science in primary schools, revamped the junior secondary science curriculum, and strengthened the 9-year curriculum of science education. The Education Bureau is working also to update the senior secondary science curriculum to actively promote students' interests in science and innovation. To align with our country's emphasis on science education, we've enhanced our teachers' competence by stepping up professional training for teachers and keeping abreast of the development of science and innovation. We provide a wide range of science and STEAM learning activities, both inside and outside classrooms, to stimulate students' interests. STEAM-related subjects have been popular among students, and the number of senior secondary students studying math, science, and technology is showing a rising trend. On the Northern Metropolis University town, it is one key initiative to strengthen Hong Kong's position as an international education hub. We seek to enhance the capacity and quality of our post-secondary education sector to enable Hong Kong's academics and research to scale new heights in international development. The Northern Metropolis University town will complement the industry-oriented development in the Northern Metropolis. It will drive the integration of education, technology, and talent and promote Hong Kong as the focal point of international high-caliber talents. We encourage local tertiary institutions to introduce more branded programs, research collaborations, and exchange projects with renowned mainland and overseas institutions so that Hong Kong can help the country build a strong education nation. Thank you.
Mr. Sunny Tan. Thank you, Deputy President. We have a new historical opportunity. President Xi Jinping mentioned we need to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. We have the important position of A centers. We have world-class universities, and we need to seize upon this opportunity to promote education, technology, talents, and the integrated development of these 3 areas in order to make greater contributions to the country. We need to make good use of the research capacities of local institutions. We need to build more laboratories and research centers. That way we can drive the transformation of scientific research outcomes. And the Race Plus scheme is a very important starting point. The INT teams play an important role, and the government is very important as well. The government needs to lead by example, and it should use the research outcome of local INT teams. We have had a lot of good projects in relation to textiles, such as the apparel of athletes. They have great functionalities. The administration should try these products. The administration should also encourage public organizations to adopt this culture. If the government is willing to use these R&D outcomes, this is actually the starting point and a very important point for local research teams to succeed. We need to have cross-boundary policies in order to facilitate the flow of capital, talents, and so on. We need to have a procurement strategy to attract more capital so that more enterprises will set up presence in Hong Kong. Then we can promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. On the level of education, we need to give full play to our strength as an international hub for post-secondary education. We need to make good use of our strength to help the double first-class universities to go global. We can work with the double first-class universities and focus on our strengths and we need to provide more dual degree programs as well as master programs. We can help mainland universities to go global, and we can also attract more mainland students to come to Hong Kong. Then we will have more new blood in Hong Kong. I believe these double first-class universities are very strong themselves. And by nurturing more talents, then they can make contributions to the country and nurture more INT talents. Well, in my opinion, we need to incentivize more talents along the Belt and Road countries to come to Hong Kong. We need to provide more facilitating measures for them so that they will contribute to the high quality development of our country in order to achieve complementarity effect. On the promotion of the integrated development of education, technology, and talents, we do have our strengths. Then we can make great contributions to our country. Thank you, Deputy President. Reverend Peter Cohen. Our national landscape is being reshaped. Technologies play a very important role in relation to this. There are very important critical factors. The third plenum of the 20th Central Committee of the CPC said that we have to invigorate the country through education and to build China into a leading country in education. And we also need to develop Hong Kong into an international hub for high caliber talent and nurture talents. Education, technology, talents are in different realms. However, they are interlinked. We need to promote the healthy interactions among these three areas. From the perspective of management, these three areas are under the purview of different policy bureaus. In relation to coordination of initiatives, there's much to be desired. Some post-secondary educational institutions cannot keep pace with the emerging industries. There's also much room for improvement in relation to the transformation and commercialization of R&D outcomes for professors. Private organizations are very important to the transformation of society. In 2023, the total expenditure of R&D outcome accounted for only 1.1% of the local GDP, much lower than the figure in Shenzhen, that is 5%. 90% of the expenditure comes from enterprises, whereas only 10% is from the government. We rely much on the public organization. R&D outcomes increased from 55% in 2021 to 61% in 2023. The figure, however, dropped from 45% to 39% for industrial organizations. We can see despite resources devoted to INT, we still fail to drive the private organizations to work on this area. The administration needs to think how to enhance INT investment on the part of private organizations. The administration has spent a lot on this. It's time to take stock of the situation to find out why the policy fails to achieve the policy intent. Unless the government can drive private organizations to devote resources to R&D, it would be very difficult to achieve economic growth. On attracting talents, we have tech tests, but from the middle of 2018, only 500 applicants have been approved. We need to leverage on the development of INT in Hong Kong. The Top Talent Pass Scheme TTPS is a quality migrant entrance scheme with its threshold being lowered. So at the time of registration, some mainland talents rush to apply to Hong Kong. However, it remains an unknown as to how many people will continue to stay in Hong Kong. There's a lack of direction or steer, so the development of education, technology, and talents as a whole will be hindered. I hope the administration will make good use of the He-Tao area in order to drive investment. Thank you.
Dr. Low Kwok, Deputy President. First, I thank Ms. Starry LEE, that is Deputy President Yu, for moving the motion and the other members for their amendments. In the third plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of the CPC, it adopted the resolution on deepening reform and enhancing the efficiency of national policies. In his policy address, the Chief Executive also announced the establishment of the Committee on Education, Technology and Talent, which will be chaired by the Chief Secretary for Administration. My party, BPA, and myself support the motion because we think the government should seize the opportunities to formulate new policies to promote Hong Kong so that it can become an international hub for high-caliber talents. This will inject new impetus for the development of the city. It can also help contribute to our country. I believe we have no doubts about this vision as to how we can enhance our competitiveness. There might be different views. I'd like to make the following 3 points. First, the government should think about how to improve the current mechanism to create greater synergies. In August last year, I went with the panel on education to Shanghai and Suzhou for a trip. I realized that in promoting industry, academic, and research sectors collaboration, the mainland has been very proactive. Hong Kong should catch up so that it won't fall behind. We have 5 world's top 100 universities, and we have great centers with great research capacities. We also have the Hong Kong clusters. We have the capabilities to develop AI as well as robotics and other technologies. The key now is to promote industry, academic, and research sectors collaboration. The Chief Executive mentioned that there will be a new industrialization alliance to drive collaborations between the government, industry, as well as academic and research sectors. I think this will help channel valuable resources to research projects and speed up the transformation and commercialization of research outcomes. Also, Hong Kong should make use of its strengths to develop itself into an international education hub. Many higher education institutions set up branches in the mainland, and we have seen great results. On the other hand, the government has reserved 80 hectares of land in the Northern Metropolis to develop the Northern Metropolis University Town. The government should release the Northern Metropolis University Town Development Conceptual Framework soon and come up with different incentives to attract renowned institutions to set up campuses and branches in Hong Kong. We should build the Study in Hong Kong brand to provide talents so that we can develop the 8 centers. Also, the government, apart from cultivating local talents, we should also troll for foreign talents, including professional talents. I declare that I am the consultant of an engineering advisory committee of the VTC. The government has placed importance to the development of VPAT in 2023's policy address for 2024 to 2025 as higher diploma education programs for students enrolled in these programs. They can stay in Hong Kong to look for jobs. On the 1st of July this year, in a LegCo meeting, I urged the government to further relax the restrictions and barriers. On one hand, we should encourage VPAT students from overseas or the mainland to stay in Hong Kong while they're still studying to look for part-time jobs so that they can get used to the local job markets in Hong Kong. Also, I think the I should be upgraded into an University of Applied Science. I so submit. Thank you. Mr. Jimmy, thank you. In the third plenary session of the 20th CPC Central Committee, there is mention that there should be a new mechanism in place to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents to enhance the efficiency as well as the development of our country. Indeed, education, technology, and talents are interconnected. We need enough talents in order to drive technology development. We have to make sure that we have good education system in order to attract talents. So we have to ensure the integrated development of these three to achieve results. I'll speak about technology. We need cross-sectoral efforts to develop technology. We've been striving to turn ourselves into an international INT center in order to build a high-quality economy. Earlier, there was an action plan in relation to the Hong Kong Park in the Loop. We have the industry as well as the academic and research sectors. If the three sectors work on their own, there won't be any results. In the policy address, in order to facilitate the collaboration between government, industry, academic, and research sectors, we need good policies as well as relevant schemes and mechanisms. We need cross-sectoral efforts as well as investments. This is the right direction. We can learn from the mainland's practice. Apart from having patience fund, we can also introduce other types of funds to ensure that there could be collaborations between industry, academic, and research sectors. On education, we have to have cross-disciplinary collaboration. In recent years, we've seen diversified education as well as subjects. We have different types of subjects as well as applied subjects as well as subjects that focus on theories. There should be more cross-disciplinary subjects and programs. Also, the government has been promoting universities of applied sciences. We can learn from Germany and have dual system and allow students to study while they can take internship. Also on talent, we need to have cross-disciplinary talents. We need a transformation base for research outcomes. Apart from professional talents, we need experts and talents that have different types of knowledge. We should consider including cross-disciplinary talents in our talent list. Also, we need cross-territorial talent. The Loop or the He-Tao and Hong Kong Park is a good platform. We should encourage the research collaboration between the two places. We can also consider integrating different work procedures. In order to achieve this integration, we need cross-departmental effort. The new Committee on Education, Technology and Talent, chaired by the Chief Secretary for Administration, has held the first meeting. It has talked about its positioning as well as top-level policies. I look forward to some concrete measures to be rolled out by the committee so that we can develop ourselves into an international hub for high-caliber talents. I so submit. Thank you. Mr. Chan Kin-po. Thank you, Deputy President. In his policy address, the Chief Executive said expressly that we have to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents, and that we have to build ourselves into an international hub for high-caliber talents. I thank Ms. Starry LEE for the motion as well as other members for the amendments. Education, tech, and talents are closely connected. Talents can lead development, and education is the cornerstone for technological development as well as development of talent. Technology can also drive resources, and talents can ensure continuous development of education and technology. Technological advancement can drive the enhancement of education quality. So education, tech, and talents are closely related to each other. As we promote education, we have to bring together talents. The government has been proactive in trawling for talents in recent years. At the same time, it should also think about how to cultivate local talent so that young people can seize the opportunities. And we should nurture high-end talents who will take root in Hong Kong. In relation to education development, there needs to be a clear direction. We have to cope with the rapid development of technology. We should revise the curriculum from time to time. We have to keep abreast of the technological development. We have to, for example, make good use of AI. At the same time, we should remove the outdated curriculum so that we can ease the burden of our students, and at the same time, they can have a grasp of the latest development of technologies. We can learn from international practices. We should allow students to take open book exams, especially for subjects that require innovation and creativity. This will encourage students not to just cram. Take QP as an example, which is an exam for accountants. We can adopt open book examinations so that students can focus on problem solving. We should do away with traditional thinking. We should think about students' interests as we develop our curriculum and classes. For those who are interested in science and innovation, we should give them opportunities. For those who aren't interested in these, we can ensure that students can apply at least these technologies so that they can keep abreast of the development. STEAM education has been promoted in primary and secondary schools in Hong Kong. This is to nurture creativity and innovative spirits of students. Currently, for quality students, we have the Quality Student Fund. And there are different classes and curricula to nurture elite students who are good at STEAM-related projects. Education, technology, and talents, integrated development require collaborative efforts from institutions and the government. We need deepened collaboration between industry, academic, and research sectors so that we can transform research outcomes and that we can develop ourselves into an international hub for high-caliber talents. Thank you.
Mr. Kenneth Leung. Thank you, Madam Deputy. Well, the third plenary session of the 20th CPC Central Committee has already emphasized education and talents as our strategy. Education, technology, and talents should go hand in hand. Well, in fact, Hong Kong is an international city, and 1 out of 3 citizens have got a tertiary education qualification. We need to rely on our talents to drive our development so that China can become a leading country in education. It is a very important issue. I'm grateful to Starry LEE for moving this motion so that we should rely on the strategic opportunity for the country's innovation and technology. Well, it has often been said that we need to have an integrated approach so that education, technology, and talents can be integrated. We have got many talent admission schemes. We're able to admit high-end talents. As in the middle of 2024, over 200,000 talents have been admitted to Hong Kong under various skills, and 300,000 of them have applied. In fact, we are gradually becoming a hub for high-caliber talents. What happens next is to make good use of the pool of talents so as to facilitate our development. Local young people told me about their career development concerns. They are worried as to whether outsiders would make it even more difficult for them to compete with the newcomers. I think it's natural to be worried about that, but I have to tell them that they need not worry. For talents from outside Hong Kong, we expect them to create the greatest value. At the same time, they can bring up the standards of our local people. For innovation and technology, we need talents to carry out research and development. And of course, that means that local people would also be employed. Not too long ago, we had a word with NAMI. 30% of the researchers are from outside Hong Kong. 70% are local staff. In other words, they will need both local and non-local researchers to drive their development. Education is the cornerstone for technology. In this year's policy address, we know that we need to deepen our educational reform. Emphasis should be put on STEAM and AI, and there will be AI-assisted teaching to be run on a pilot scheme. For students to know about that, I think what is even more important is to have innovative thinking and to be having the spirit to explore. I think our conventional approach to education lacks such elements. We want local talents that would be innovative and creative, and therefore in our curriculum, we need to find areas that would need improvements so that our young people would dare to explore. Applied science should also be emphasized, and then we can have people who are knowledgeable and scientific. Madam Deputy, cities are trying to draw and retain talents. They are all providing good opportunities for talents to go and remain there. Therefore, a good living environment would be important. When it comes to urban renewal, whether we are a friendly city and whether we have got the infrastructure for innovation technology, whether we have the digital infrastructure would all be important in attracting the talents. For R&D, we have got $33 billion in last year, around about 1.1% of our GDP, but it's still lower than that in Singapore. Therefore, we have to provide more resources to drive the R&D in Hong Kong, and then we can have talents, and then we can drive, we can allow the country to thrive. Thank you. Next, Mr. Tan Kap Yew. Thank you, Madam Deputy. Hong Kong is advantageous in terms of having an environment for innovation technology. But at the same time, I have to point out that there are shortcomings and deficiencies. There are a number of features. First of all, we built 5 universities among the top 100 QS universities. But then what about the 5 universities we've got? Can they really nurture innovation industry talents? I'm not too sure. Say, for example, in the year 2023, Hong Kong ranked 17 in the Innovation Index, Israel 14, but Israel doesn't have any university among the top 100 universities. Switzerland ranked first, but it has only got 2 such universities. We should not be going after rankings on their own, but I just wonder whether we are having the right answer to the question. I'm doubtful. Well, the administration has been driving innovation and technology. It has been so for the past few years. But then for R&D's share of our GDP, it is still under 1.5%. Of course, if the administration thinks that I'm wrong, then please clarify. But my understanding is that it's less than 1.5%. But then the national figure is 2.5%, if I'm right. Now in Beijing, 6.83%. And then Shanghai 4.44%. So we are still lagging far behind. And thirdly, we don't have many unicorns. For GBA, it has got 70 unicorns, but Hong Kong has only 5, and all of them are in the financial service sector. 34 in Shenzhen. Beijing has the highest number, 78 of them. And there's another characteristic here in Hong Kong. That is, for our input into R&D, profit money accounts for more than half. In other words, it's policy driven, but then the community, the industry have yet to catch up. Therefore, today we talk about the integration of education, technology, and talents. I've just pointed out the deficiencies, the shortcomings. I'm afraid we have yet to reap the harvest. I think the government is aware of the inadequacies, but it's high time for us to come up with the policies to address the issue. First of all, new quality productive forces. We need to look at the local advantages. What about the advantages in Hong Kong? We are strong in our financial services industry as well as healthcare and medical care. Can we have some breakthrough? Can our talents in technology and education focus on them? Now, for unicorns, just 5 of them in Hong Kong, all in the field of financial services industry, because they have the scenarios for them to apply their skills. But then for other sectors, we don't have that. Well, we have to rely on our local advantages. By advantages, it means the field of financial services as well as the field of healthcare. I think the government should develop the healthcare industry together with the education sector. We need to be quick in developing our 3rd medical school. Don't keep us waiting for 10 years. Perhaps we shouldn't be satisfied with a 3rd medical school. Maybe we should have the 4th or even the 5th one. And we lack application scenarios. Now that the land prices are slowing or coming down, can we not introduce overseas industries to come? Or can we render more support to our local industrialists? And what about going to Huizhou, where the land prices are lower, so that we can set up a Hong Kong industrial park there, so that if our researchers have got excellent ideas, they can have their production carried out at Huizhou. So I'm just citing an example so that our R&D talents can put their expertise to practical use. And I hope that the government can set aside money to attract top-notch scientists to come here to set up colleges like Mr. Yao Xingtong. CU Hong Kong is trying to ask him to come over, but they have yet to get money, financial support from the Hong Kong government. Ms. Eunice Yong. Madam Deputy, I support Mr. Lee's motion concerning the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. We should grasp the opportunity, which is strategic, so that the 3 of them can be developed in an integrated manner. We should rely on our unique advantages. Hong Kong should become a global center for innovation and technology. We have an open economy. We have got top-notch research institutions. We are ready to become an international hub for innovation technology. And then we should have our own mechanism to nurture talents in this regard. AI, biotechnology, etc. should be areas we should focus on. We should encourage interdisciplinary collaboration. We should encourage commercialization of R&D outcomes. On the other hand, we should make good use of our international markets, and we should have the deep integration and cooperation among industries, academia, the government, etc. And we should attract more laboratories and research organizations to come to Hong Kong. In terms of tax concession and children education, we should provide as much assistance as possible. We have got many talents, but we need to further enhance their quality, and we should have a diversity of high-end talents. We should emphasize basic research talents. We should provide more resources. We should also encourage the young people to have a passion for science, and we need people who have a global outlook, and we need people with complex skills and applied skills, so that in this way our talents can fare better. They should have good public speaking powers, and they should have a global vision. I think the administration has relaxed the admission schemes so that top-notch scientists can come to Hong Kong to work. For AI, I think we need to step up our efforts. We need scientists who are well-versed in AI so that we have deep learning as well as people who are well-versed in natural language processing. We need people who are well-versed in the theory and the practice. We want a breakthrough. We need people who have the knowledge, but at the same time, they should be people who can present the case, so that it is a matter of having both the technology as well as the communicative powers, and they should be able to address people from different cultures so that they can vividly present their ideas to the investors, to the policymakers, like the commercial value as well as the social impact of their R&D outcomes. In this way, technology and the society can be linked together. There should be the sort of link between the two. We must have such complex type talents. Science students should also learn about humanities, and they should also know about ethics, etc., so that they are well versed in science, but at the same time they are good public speakers. In terms of financial services, trading, shipping, etc., we have an advantage, and we are fully international in nature. The government would like to promote innovation technology, but we mustn't forget our traditional industries. We must develop a good habitat for both. I think we should have cross-boundary funding mechanisms so that we can go out to the world market. In this way, IP trading can be facilitated. We can provide consultancy services, etc. Therefore, education, technology, and talents should be developed in an integrated manner. It is complicated, therefore we need to have long-term planning, we need to have the policies, we need to coordinate the efforts from all parties, all sectors. I agree with Ms. Starry LEE. We need a high-level mechanism to coordinate the work so that local talents and talents from outside Hong Kong as well as the funds can be mobilized so that we can become part of the overall development of our nation.
Dr. Frankie Ngan. Thank you, Deputy President. Talents drive innovation. We need to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. One of the highlights of the policy address is the setup of the Committee on Education, Technology, and Talents. It is responsible for driving the integrated development of these three areas. Different quarters of the community should promote the integrated development of these areas and make greater contributions to the country. We have remarkable strength. As an international financial center, we have a highly open economy. We align with different economies around the world. We provide a platform for talents. We are the bridge between the mainland and the world. There's information flow, and we also have a lot of world-class universities. We are strong in relation to research capacity. However, there are also deficiencies that we need to address. The living costs in Hong Kong are high. Talents face challenges in relation to living habits, languages, and so on. Despite efforts to promote development, approval mechanisms still pose challenges to the flow of capital. There's a lack of interaction among academia, research, industry, and the government. We need to do more in order to achieve synergetic effect. In the future, Hong Kong needs more talents. We need them to come to Hong Kong to work. We need to address the problems they face, such as buying their own homes and so on, so that we will incentivize these incoming talents to stay in Hong Kong in the long term. We need to enhance our competitiveness and to promote diversified economic development. I have the following suggestions. In relation to INT, we need to promote the interaction among academia, research, industry, and government. Tertiary institutions need to adjust the development orientation having regard to societal needs. The administration should formulate a framework in relation to double first-class universities. That's exactly how we can promote education exchanges from the perspective of the government. We need to lend support to AI, health science, and so on. These are new technologies. We need to groom composite talents and start more exchange student programs to nurture talents. That way we can broaden the horizons of students. I suggest that the government can liaise more with the counterparts in the mainland. We need to ask for more INT funds to be made available for local institutions to apply. Mechanisms and procedures can be streamlined as a result. There should also be more facilitation measures to allow talents to come to Hong Kong from the mainland. Education and talents are the key to innovation. We need to give full play to our strengths. We need to drive the integrated development of education and talents. We need to attract talents from all over the world to come to Hong Kong in order to achieve synergetic effect. And our goal is to promote the integrated development of education, talents, and technology. Mr. Chen Siu-hong. Thank you, Deputy President. Talents, education, and technology, they are interlinked. We need to enhance the connection among these three areas. We need to plan well, and we also need to have a mechanism for nurturing talents. We need to address the pain points. Local universities have great R&D results, but then there's a lack of commercialization of R&D outcomes. Resources are devoted to academic research instead of short-term scientific research that have economic prospects. We have the UGC, University Grants Committee, as well as the Research Grants Council, RGC, under the UGC. Subsidies are provided by way of dual-track subsidy system. This can enhance the research level as well as academic level of local universities. We have 5 local universities ranking the top 100 around the world. Research and the publication of theses are not mutually exclusive. Without R&D outcomes, the theses published by universities wouldn't be impactful. They wouldn't be influential. Some professors or R&D staff members said that they simply work on theses. They don't know how to align with the market. These are the factors affecting R&D staffers not to commercialize the R&D outcomes. These are the hurdles standing in the way. We need to adopt a two-pronged approach. The administration implements different schemes to provide subsidies in order to drive the commercialization of R&D outcomes. Say the raise scheme of $10 billion, the direction is correct. The grooming of talents is equally important. There are two main talent admission schemes. One, employment-linked schemes, that is in the general employment policy, as well as other talent admission schemes targeting mainland professionals. At the time of application, applicants need to be engaged by a local company. The other category is the issuance of visas, that is quality migrant scheme, as well as the TTPS. Applicants don't have to have a job offer at the time of application. As I understand, some applicants come to Hong Kong by way of the TTPS, but it is only their spouse who can land a job as a dependent on these talents. This reflects quite a fundamental issue of the TTPS. The eligibility criteria of the TTPS don't cover industries. So there's no guarantee that the applicants will land a job suitable for them or for their strengths. In fact, the INT sector lacks a scale. So how can these incoming talents land a good job? The applicant's spouse can also apply to the TTPS, but then they may not meet all the criteria under classes A, B, and C, so they cannot stay in Hong Kong still. Can the administration consider relaxing the restrictions in order to enable more talents to come to Hong Kong? I so submit. I speak in support of the motion. Thank you. Mr. Ronak Chan. Thank you, Deputy President. We are seeing changes not seen in a century. All over the world, in New York, in London, in Tokyo, all these are world-renowned INT hubs. To build an international INT hub, this is an important development strategy. It can help us enhance our international competitiveness. It is also a way to help us address our deficiencies. In the policy address last year, the Chief Executive rolled out a series of measures revolving around academia, research, government, and industry. Also, the Committee on Education, Technology, and Talents was set up. I thank Deputy President for moving this motion so that we can discuss this topic today. We are an influential INT hub. This motion is very important to us. According to WIPO, the latest figures show that among the 133 economies around the world, we rank 18th, whereas we rank 5th in Asia. Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou formed a technological cluster. For 5 years in a row, we ranked 2nd. This recognizes our efforts and success in R&D. It also shows the synergetic effect in the GBA when it comes to INT. We need to continue to explore fostering the building of international INT center. Let us take a look at the global examples. The proactive planning and drive by the administration are key. We need to provide financial support to startups in Hong Kong. We also need to encourage financial regulators to enrich the product types they offer. Tax concessions can be offered as well. In relation to copyright, there should be more tax concession measures so we can attract high caliber talents and companies to come to Hong Kong to set up their headquarters. We can organize INT competitions as well. We can encourage different INT companies to be sponsors. Tax concessions can be offered as a result. That way we can encourage enterprises to provide sponsors to the industry. We can also encourage local universities to organize different INT events. We can showcase our outcomes in this regard, say INT Carnival, roadshows, sharing sessions, and so on. Then we can build the brand of INT in Hong Kong. We can also work with leading enterprises to set up laboratories in Hong Kong. We can sign agreements and we can commercialize R&D outcomes as a result. The higher education sector plays a very important role, and we need to give full play to our strength. We need to enhance the input in relation to INT and encourage students and teachers to engage in research, to commercialize R&D outcomes, and to support companies to set up R&D centers. We may also make schools an important engine for R&D. Professor CHOW mentioned the removing the restrictions in relation to INT, and this is in line with the situation. We have our seat in the international arena when it comes to INT. I hope we'll continue to be the INT hub all around the world. I support the motion and the amendments. Thank you.
Mr. Scotland. Thank you, Deputy President. Hong Kong is at a strategic timing as we support our country in developing education, technology, and talent. Education is the basis and cornerstone for developing talents. We've had talents taking part in different R&D research projects. Hong Kong is an international metropolis. I want to speak about some non-Chinese speaking students in Hong Kong, and they deserve the resources, especially because our country has been promoting the development of Belt and Road countries. These students can make use of their cultural backgrounds as well as their understanding of Hong Kong to promote technological development in the Belt and Road, and they play an important role as we seek to internationalize ourselves. The SAR government has recently relaxed the visa requirements for some foreigners, and we see that the INT talents as well as the non-Chinese speaking people in Hong Kong have been making use of this scheme. I've also held some sharing sessions and brought together 100 non-Chinese speaking students to visit the mainland. And these students gave very positive and enthusiastic responses after the trip, and these enterprises also said they would want to attract these students to work for them And these students, after learning about these opportunities, they said they would like to study in the mainland and take part in the development of our country so that they can contribute to our nation. I might have digressed a little. What I want to say is that we have to encourage those, especially non-Chinese speaking students who aspire to contribute to our country. We should help them enhance their competitiveness and their Chinese language skills. They need an immersive language in order to boost their language skills. There should be more online learning resources for them to enhance their Chinese language skills. We should also encourage those non-Chinese speaking people who are permanent residents in Hong Kong. There are INT talents and lawyers in this group of people. We should encourage these non-Chinese speaking talents to talk to students from the same background. There should be different cultural exchange activities to encourage students to experience different cultures so that they can better integrate into our community. In terms of helping them pursue further studies, currently most schools do not offer Chinese language classes for non-Chinese speaking students that are comparable to those for local students. And we lack a system that can convert their exam scores so that they can be qualified to get different jobs or take part in INT projects or construction projects. A lot of them, their Chinese is not good enough, and this impedes them from pursuing further studies. I hope there can be an open or transparent scheme to convert the scores of exams taken by these students so that they can take part in the development of our country. Some non-Chinese speaking students told me that they would like to go to the mainland to learn more about Chinese culture. However, they experience difficulties, for example, in terms of their Chinese language skills. Some universities in mainland have relaxed the Chinese competency requirements. For example, in relation to programs in engineering and other tech-related programs. We have a group of young people who can contribute to our country as well as the development of the Belt and Road. So the SAR government should work with the mainland universities to recognize their qualifications so that they can contribute to our country. Thank you. Professor William Wong. Thank you, Deputy President. I thank Ms. Starry LEE for moving the motion on seizing strategic opportunities to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong. I think the key of this motion is about integrating education, tech, and talents. A lot of people look at these three areas in a linear approach. They think that education is a platform to cultivate talents, and some of these talents, they are good at INT and they take part in businesses in the INT sector. This kind of pipeline thinking impedes us from promoting the integrated development of education, tech, and talents. If we come up with certain programs just to cultivate a specific type of talents, we won't be able to nurture talents with diversified skills. We should take into consideration the conditions and needs of our community as well as our country as we promote reforms. We should not work in silos. We should have a common vision as we roll out reforms. In the third plenary session of the 20th CPC Central Committee, it is mentioned that there should be a coordinated coordination mechanism to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. And therefore, the SAR government has set up the Committee on Education, Technology, and Talent. I think to promote the integration of these three, there should be an overarching framework to ensure that the research outcomes can respond to the needs of our market. For example, what kind of talents do we need for the I&T sector? In 2024, the government released the latest manpower projection results, and it reflects the types of talents we need in Hong Kong. Under the framework of promoting the integrated development of education, tech, and talent, we can come up with an education plan for the coming 10 years. We can even plan in advance and adjust our talent policies. We know that AI will be used in different sectors and industry. Under this integrated framework, I suggest that we have general studies on AI and that we can popularize AI education to equip our next generation. Education, Technology and Talent Committee should build a flexible macro framework to dovetail with the national strategies. We should continue to update our strategies to nurture talents. I hope that within this committee, different government departments will work together to reform the education system to nurture local talents required for our I&T sector in primary schools, secondary schools, as well as in universities. The committee should review whether resources are utilized effectively to promote new quality productive forces in Hong Kong. Lastly, I think we should by removing restrictions on facilitating collaborations between industry, academic, and research sectors may not be the best strategy. We should flexibly transform R&D outcomes instead of removing such requirement for universities. Also, we should ensure academic autonomy. Universities should choose to transform R&D outcomes or focus on scientific researches. That's why I cannot totally agree with Mr. Scott Leung as well as the amendment made by Mr. Dennis Leung. I so submit. Thank you. Dr. Kennedy Wong. Thank you, Deputy President. I'd like to first declare interest. I am the chairman of one committee of the Governing Council of the Hong Kong Baptist University. I think education, technology, and talents are closely interrelated. Education should be the core. By enhancing our education system and enhancing application of technology, we can nurture high-end talents. With our capacity to innovate, we can also enhance our education system, and we can then have a comprehensive and integrated development as well as upgrading of these three areas. Higher education institutions can contribute a lot in this respect. We have 5 World Top 100 universities in Hong Kong. However, with limited land resources in Hong Kong, a number of universities in Hong Kong have set up campuses in the Greater Bay Area. For example, the University of Hong Kong has set up a campus in Shenzhen. This can allow our international students to learn about the situation in the mainland. This can also enhance the interdisciplinary subjects or education in our universities. This will also allow research centers or labs to contribute with more land resources. And this enables Hong Kong universities to enhance the status internationally. Because of geopolitical reasons, some countries adopt different methods to hinder our collaboration or their collaboration with mainland institutions. This is in contrast with healthy competition and other principles. Because of the needs of our country's development, we have to leverage our strengths under one country, two systems. And we should capitalize on our strengths in being closely connected to the world. We should attract high-end talents to come to Hong Kong. We should collaborate with universities from different places and promote collaborations among these universities. We have to not just eye universities from the West, but we should also target those from the ASEAN as well as the Middle East countries in order to seize the opportunities. In November last year, President Xi Jinping spoke in Peru in an Asia-Pacific summit. He said that with unilateralism as well as geopolitical reasons, countries in the Asia-Pacific region should work together. He has several suggestions. We should seize the opportunities brought by tech revolutions. With quantum computing, life and health sciences, we should strengthen cooperation in these areas with other countries and places in the Asia-Pacific region to create a healthy ecosystem. Hong Kong universities, apart from promoting such academic exchanges and partner with other institutions, we should also strengthen the link with universities in the mainland, especially the double first-class universities. I hope universities in Hong Kong should get the subsidies so that the funds could be used in their mainland campuses and branches to promote INT development as well as scientific researches. I hope the government can come up with more sustainable policies to drive the collaboration in researches between Hong Kong and the mainland. Thank you. Mr. Tang Fei. Deputy President, I speak in support of this motion.
It isn't just about the development of Hong Kong, it is also about the overall development of our nation. So education, technology, and talents are important. I just want to raise a few points, and I hope that I can draw the attention of the government departments involved so that we can have integrated development of education, technology, and talents. You need to face the problem squarely. First of all, teaching and teachers, in particular, those in the secondary and primary schools. For those who are strong in science and technology, they would go to universities, they would go to research institutions rather than teach at schools. We have a shortage of teachers in terms of innovation and science, even in the U.S. 70% of the American teachers or teaching vacancies are not filled. And for physics, I think the vacancy rate is 83%. In Hong Kong, I haven't got the corresponding figure. For the mainland, just over the past day or two, the Ministry of Education also issues some guidelines in relation to this matter. Every secondary or primary school must have a deputy principal responsible for science and innovation. I'm not saying that Hong Kong must do the same, but teaching resources would be important. And we need to have AI education being popularized. Just like in Singapore, they have the AI Singapore concept. I think it isn't just a matter of in fact, it's a matter of narrowing the digital gap. You can't just have them for elite schools or international schools that they can have a full grasp of AI, but not so for the grassroots children. So it isn't just a matter of raising our competitiveness, it's a matter of being equal. And then according to the paper concerning innovation technology issued end of 2022, I think we need to look at the coordination among the upstream, medium term, and the the upstream, midstream, and downstream factors. Well, what about the positioning of the collaboration among the industries, the academia, as well as the researchers? Do you want them to have the whole process carried out in Hong Kong, or you just want to have the research here but then the production on the mainland? I think, of course, we have the issue of land. President Trump talked about bringing industry back to America. If we have R&D here, but production to be carried out elsewhere, like in the mainland or other places, then it means that we haven't made a change. The positioning would be important. It would also affect the future development of our University of Applied Science, as well as whether we are going to nurture talents for basic research, or whether we want to introduce and import middle-ranking people who are responsible for the technology. And then in the year 2022, we would like to have a change of the ratios. In fact, 20% of the 20% of the GDP is taken up by manufacturing. But Hong Kong cannot compare with Singapore. I think in Singapore, they have manufacturing arising from innovation technology. But in Hong Kong, we have got traditional industry. We have also got AI-assisted industry. So must we come up with a target ratio so that we know how much will be contributed by AI-assisted industrial development to our GDP. We have got financial deficit. We need to invest more in the three areas. But what about the output, and what about the tax revenue to be collected? Your time is up. Mr. Johnny Ng, Madam Deputy, I speak in support of the motion that you yourself move. It is good for us to have the opportunity to speak. Innovation would be important for the progress of our economy. The SARG has been advocating innovation technology. We have got different admission schemes for talents in innovation technology. We've got more resources. But then for the 2023 manpower projection, it is said that by the year 2028, we have a shortage of 18,000 for innovation technology. We can't just count on outside talents. We need to nurture our local talents. Otherwise, we can't sustain. I think integrated development of education, technology, and talents means that we have to make good use of the 5 universities which are among the top 100 in the world, so that we can come up with our own ecology. For tertiary education, we mustn't forget the market, and we should update our curriculum accordingly. Other than traditional disciplines, we need to have Web3, quantum computing, aerospace, and AI, etc. We should have diversity so as to meet the needs of the students as well as their aspirations. And local graduates in engineering fields and science, well, in fact, they don't have attractive career paths, so they have been put off from taking up science or engineering courses. I think we need to have more scholarships for innovation and technology, so that for undergraduates, they should be given financial subsidies. They should also be given assistance in relation to the development of their career path, so that more will be attracted to become researchers. And we should attract top-notch scientists to come to Hong Kong. This is good to drive our development and would raise our standards, and it will also enhance the competitiveness of our researchers. There should be concessionary measures like subsidies for research as well as other subventions, so that researchers of world-class standards will come. And in fact, teaching staff should be encouraged to join applied research which will have a commercial prospect. It means that our research will be more practical, and then we can have the funds available for further developments. And this way we can have more focused development, and we can commercialize the R&D outcomes. And then at the basic level, we should start at an early age. At the primary and secondary schools, we should enhance STEAM education. And in fact, for senior secondary students, more of them should choose science subjects as their electives. So far, the government hasn't come up with the relevant educational policies. Yes, STEAM has been encouraged, but then we haven't got a separate subject, and the teaching hours or the class hours are inadequate. According to the government, over 95% of our local schools have been launching STEAM education. But then there are doubts about the quality, and as Mr. Tang Fei has said, many teachers don't actually have the knowledge or skills. They might just have some knowledge, but not fully equipped or ready to teach STEAM. We need people who have the knowledge and who have the practical skills. Now, for South Korea and Singapore, they do have policies to make sure that teachers are equipped to teach innovation technology. Well, we have a manpower shortage, so we should try to attract scholars from outside Hong Kong to support our work. And by having such, it means that the teaching quality will be enhanced, and at the end of the day, innovation technology will be facilitated. The 14th five-year plan has positioned Hong Kong as 8 centers. If we want to become the innovation technology hub, we must make sure that we have education to turn out the local talents, and then we can contribute to the modernization with Chinese characteristics. Ms. Doreen Kong. Thank you, Madam Deputy. I support your motion. Now, global competition is keen. Innovation technology would be important for our national development. It is the driving force. In fact, Hong Kong is uniquely positioned in terms of innovation, technology, education, talents will have huge potentials. We should grasp this strategic opportunity. We should have integrated development of education, technology, and talents. It is good for Hong Kong, and it is significant for our national development. Now, in fact, innovation technology will be the new drivers of economic growth, and even traditional industries can be upgraded. For the Silicon Valley, as a result of their strong innovative powers, they're able to have Google and Apple, and so they have reaped huge financial benefits, and in fact, it is a very important driving force for the American economic growth. Now, high quality talents will be important. We have got excellent tertiary education resources. With Hong Kong U, we have the Hong Kong UST. Among the QS rankings, the universities rank at a very top position. It will be advantageous for our aim to have integrated development. Now, in fact, for the World Innovation, for WIPO, it has published the Innovation Index. I think we have an edge. For Hong Kong and China, in terms of talents, we can complement each other. when we can develop our talents, then we can collaborate with the other GBA cities. Now, we should allow for the movement of talents within the GBA. Now, for Huawei and Tencent of Shenzhen, if they can collaborate with our local universities, then it means that talents, techniques, and markets will all benefit. But in reality, for our talents, their potential cannot be fully realized, and in fact, we are losing out. The high living costs and inadequate opportunities and the immature ecology mean that the talents would rather go to the mainland or other countries for their career development. In the past 5 years, about 5% of our professionals have left Hong Kong. They are from the innovation technology field. It is impacting upon our development. Now, if there are inadequate platforms, the talents won't find sufficient room for development. And what about our policies? What about our talent appraisals? Again, we are lagging behind. For us in Hong Kong, we need to transform our industries. Innovation technology will be the breakthrough. And while we attract talents, we should also retain them, and we should also enhance their contribution. In recent years, the ITIB has been running different kinds of funding schemes. Say, for example, in the first half of 2025, the Bureau would like to have the Innovation Technology Industry-Oriented Fund. And in fact, both the community and the investors would find that it is quite similar to venture capital. Investors would be concerned about the return. There are so many schemes, but then we have to review the outcome, and we must make the adjustments. For us to have integrated development of technology, education, and talents, we should work on the multiple fronts, and we need cooperation among departments, and we should liaise with overseas and mainland institutions. The Bureau is working at the forefront. You have to be highly efficient. You have to make good use of the resources. You should avoid abuse of the resources so that in the long term, education, technology, and talents can be integrated in their development. So I spoke.
Professor Lau Chi-Pang. I work at Lingnan University. I so declare. I support the motion of promoting the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. In 1847, someone went to Yale University, went to study overseas and obtained a degree afterwards. In the procurement of machinery and warfare, a suggestion was made to the then administration to purchase machines, and that laid a solid foundation for the future development. Talents are critical to the development of technology. So children in China were sent to overseas to study. Between 1872 and 1875, students were sent to the U.S. to study. Among these school children, there were talents. They received education in the U.S. Afterwards, they made contributions to the country in different positions. There were three very significant examples. At the same time, some understand the importance of having talents in a country. So they built the first batch of Western elements schools in China. in 1879, 1888, and so on. That institution is actually LEUNG University today. They felt education system with Western elements were very important. So in 1898 and 1911, they built two universities, which are Tsinghua University and Peking University right now. Education, talent, technology, these are the core elements in our competition with other regions. We are a metropolis under the principle of one country, two systems. We have 5 UGC-funded universities ranking the top 100 around the world. The government is driving innovation at full pelt. There are also talent admission policies to attract talents to come to Hong Kong. Education, technology, talents, we have quite remarkable achievements. These three are intertwined. Education is critical. In the 19th century, all these three areas are inextricably linked. We used to attach importance to academics. We didn't attach enough focus to commercialization of R&D outcomes. Now we emphasize the importance of a social impact and we focus on knowledge transfer. In the motion, it mentions cross-disciplinary innovative research, but the effect wasn't as significant. I do think we need to enhance the development of academia, research, and industry. We need to encourage scholars to work with the commercial sector as well as the industrial sector to drive innovation. The government should work with universities to encourage private sectors to take part in commercialization of R&D outcomes. We need to expand the capacity of tertiary institutions, and we also need to get prepared so that we can promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. I so submit. Thank you, Deputy President. Mr. Perry, you. Thank you, Deputy President. I speak in support of the motion as well as other amendments. Through the Committee on Education, Technology and Talents, we need to give full play to our strength as an international post-secondary education hub. We need to promote cooperation in order to drive the development of new quality productive forces. In 2023 to 24, education expenses total $114.7 billion. Education is all about cultivating talents. It's all about long-term investment. We need to cultivate positive values among students. We need to equip them with skills needed at work. And all these are the very important functions of education. So we need to let students put what they have learned into practice. On enhancing collaboration between schools and enterprises, I have deep feelings. Different sectors are facing manpower shortage. The tourism sector is the hard-hit area. We have been thinking how to draw for talents. There is a subject tourism and hospitality under the Hong Kong DSE. It is the only subject in this area. Every year, there are 4,000 students taking this subject. And they are interested in subject, they are interested in tourism, and they want to join this industry. I related to the Education Bureau that we need to enhance the interfacing between this subject as well as the actual situation in society. We want this subject to meet the academic requirements of the education system, but we also want it to be in line with the reality. The tourism sector is facing significant changes. There is room for improvement in this regard. The Education Bureau should be the coordinator and provide exchange opportunities so that students will learn more about the actual situation in the tourism sector now. That is a way for the tourism and hospitality studies to attract talents to join the industry. The tourism sector needs high-end talents in order to innovate and transform. If we need to develop smart tourism, we'll need to leverage technology, Internet of Things, AI, all these are new technologies. There are a lot of application scenarios in the realm of tourism. Universities have a wealth of resources. There are different projects in different organizations, but I haven't yet seen many projects in relation to smart tourism. It'd be difficult for the tourism sector to innovate and transform. I'm glad to see that the Polytechnic University set up a research center in relation to digitalized tourism. They conducted cross-disciplinary innovative research. Digital tourism scholarships were set up. Hong Kong is, it is the first ever item supporting smart tourism in Hong Kong. From the perspective of tourism, the training of frontline staffers as well as high-end talents are equally important. While I can be the middleman to help the industry to develop, the administration does need a mechanism. We have the ITIB, LWB, as well as the EDP. This shows the importance attached to the issue in question today. I hope we can groom the talents in the tourism sector. In the oral question section this morning, I thank Professor Sandong for pledging to follow up on the transformation of the tourism sector. That's exactly how the tourism sector can take flight. Thank you. Mr. Robert Lee. Thank you, Deputy President. To help Hong Kong to develop new economic growth points, we do need a lot of talents to underpin this effort. We need a suitable environment for talents to realize their potential. So I'm glad to see the government setting up the Committee on Education, Technology and Talents as mentioned in the policy address. This is a high-level committee to coordinate the education policies as well as the development of the industry. I have the following suggestions to make. 1. On technological advancement, Hong Kong is an international financial center. It is an ideal environment for Hong Kong to develop digital finance. We need to groom sufficient financial talents. We have the stable coins bill as well as the bills on the protection of critical infrastructures. We need a good number of financial talents for Web3 as well as the development of virtual access VA to attract enterprises and businesses. All these are very important. According to the VTC report, we have a shortage of fintech talents, especially in relation to AI, cybersecurity, and so on. The Hong Kong MA plans to issue a report on banking talents. It will explore the shortfall of skilled talents between 2026 and 2030. I think we should prepare the relevant manpower projections in order to have sufficient talents to support the future development of the industry. the government can introduce a more flexible collaboration mechanism between enterprises and universities. Enterprises can work together with professors to research into products and services. Research teams, including professors at schools, can work with enterprises as well. I support the amendment made by Professor CHOW. That is to remove institutionally the long-standing restrictions imposed by universities on their teaching and research staff in conducting the commercialization of scientific research outcomes and in promoting the collaboration among the government, industry, academic, and research sectors. That is to allow the seamless transformation of R&D outcomes, and this will be beneficial to the future commercialization of products. Considering the fact that the TTPS does not require the type of jobs applicants must take, the administration can review the arrangements for other talent admission schemes. Standards should be set in relation to basic salaries as well as skills required. Local organizations can go overseas to work with them. In overseas tertiary institutions, we can provide scholarships in order to attract talents to come to Hong Kong. We can use the Northern Metropolis to attract overseas students to Hong Kong, and overseas institutions will set up campuses in Hong Kong. We need to build Hong Kong into an international hub for talents. The government is working towards this direction. I hope that the government will nurture sufficient fintechs in the future in order to drive the high quality development of the financial industry. I support the original motion and I also support all other amendments. Thank you.
Mr. Chu Kok-keung. Thank you. I thank Ms. Starry LEE for the motion as well as the 5 members on the amendment so that we can have a discussion on the integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong. In the 14th five-year plan, it is mentioned that Hong Kong should develop itself into an international INT hub. With the opportunities brought by the GBA, Hong Kong is experiencing rapid growth in terms of INT. According to the Manpower Projections report, it is expected that by 2028, we will be 18,000 to 23,000 talents short. So we have to enrich our talent pool. I hope the government will stop working in silos. I hope the Committee on Education, Technology and Talents can come up with policies to attract INT talents to come to Hong Kong so that we can build an international INT hub. The government released a plan in II.May as well as New Territories North. 80 hectares of land will be reserved for the Northern Metropolis University Town, and land in II.May is reserved for the 3rd Medical School in Hong Kong. And the government has invited local universities to submit proposals. II.May is going to be a highlight of the INT development in Hong Kong. Is going to bring together talents. It will serve as an important engine in this regard. It is believed that the Northern Metropolis University Town Development Conceptual Framework will be released in 2026. I hope the government will respond to the public's concerns in the following regards. First, public-funded university as well as self-financing institutions. What will be the ratio? Also, will the university town address the issue of self-financing institutions in Hong Kong falling behind? Also, will University of Applied Sciences be able to establish in the university town? Also, will the government encourage mainland universities to set up branches, or rather R&D bases in Hong Kong? What kind of mechanism will be put in place to select the mainland universities that want to establish bases in the new university town? Also, we have to ensure that these universities will come to Hong Kong, and at the same time, foreign students will come study in Hong Kong to ensure that they can run on a self-financing basis. Also, with a fiscal deficit, the government will not pay for all these projects in the university town. How will the government finance these projects? Will it consider issuing bonds or working with the private sector to ease the financial burden of the government? Also, how will the government facilitate the collaboration between industry, academic, and research sectors? How will it speed up the transformation of R&D outcomes? Some universities have learned from the practices in mainland. It has set up its own I&T park to speed up new industrialization to respond to the needs of the market. Can this model be adopted in the Northern Metropolis University town? Also, can you ensure that there will be sustainable income generated by the I&T park to address the manpower shortage? The government has been trawling for talents to enrich the talent pool. It's like forming a football team. We cannot only rely on overseas or foreign talents and neglect local talents. We have to strengthen nurturing of talent. In primary and secondary schools in Hong Kong, STEAM education has been promoted. We've been trying to strengthen students' interest in maths as well as other science subjects so that they can apply what they have learned. And this is crucial to cultivating talents in Hong Kong. To promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents, we have to see the interrelation between the three. Education is a long-term investment. If we reduce the spending on education because of the fiscal deficit, we will fall behind and we will miss out on the development opportunities we have. We should not make this regrettable decision. I so submit. Thank you. Ms. Judy Chen. Thank you. We see fierce competition from around the world against this backdrop. Hong Kong as a logistics hub as well as a financial center. We have to seize the opportunities. We have to actively promote the integrated development of education, tech, and talents so that we can enhance our competitiveness. I speak in support of Deputy President's motion on seizing strategic opportunities to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong. Education, tech, and talents are important forces to drive our economy. Education helps nurture talents, and technology is a growth engine for our economy, and talents help realize technological innovation to promote new productive forces as well as high-end development. We have to integrate the three. Indeed, our country has placed importance to education, technology, and talents. And it has provided lots of opportunities for us in these three areas. Hong Kong has to take part actively in the modernization of our country. Our country has provided many resources and policy support for Hong Kong. We can make use of these platforms to enhance the competitiveness of our local talents in aerospace as well as low altitude economy. Our country is well ahead of us, and over the years in the research and development of aerospace materials and technologies, Hong Kong has yielded great results. How can we form a industrial chain based on these R&D outcomes? I believe the government can offer lots of support. Also, we have our strengths and advantages. We should leverage on our strengths and develop our education to strengthen collaboration between local institutions as well as those from the mainland and other places in the world, so that we can build ourselves into an international education hub. I noticed that some secondary schools in Hong Kong have rolled out courses and programs to encourage students to develop their skills and potentials. There is a program that encourages students to realize their dreams. Some flight simulation models were set up in Hong Kong. They made a 1-to-1 model based on the real C919 jet. These schools have also invited professional pilots to allow their students to experience flying a plane, and this stimulates the interest of students with potential. This also encourages students to make early planning of their life and career. This also helps nurture technology talents in Hong Kong. I think we should continue to study and explore how we can enhance our education system to nurture talents. I support the idea of the new Committee on Education, Technology and Talent. I hope we can attract quality tech talents, and I hope the committee can help us build an international education hub. There should be a mechanism to bring in talents. There should be policies and efforts in these three regards. There should also be collaborations between industries and education, especially the tech sector. If we can incorporate technology into education, then students can experience technology early while they are still doing their studies. I so submit I speak in support of the motion. Thank you. Mr. Benson Look. Thank you, President. I thank Ms. Starry LEE for the motion on seizing strategic opportunities to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong. I also thank other members for their amendments. In October 2022, our country released the 20th country or government report, and it mentioned about some strategies to promote the integration of education, tech, and talents. And also in 2035, we have to build a strong education nation. This goal is clear, and it shows that our country is determined to realize this goal. In the 2024 policy address, the SAR government announced the setting up of the Committee on Education, Technology and Talent, chaired by the Chief Secretary for Administration. This is to promote the integrated development of education, tech and talents. We are 10 years away from the timeline set by our country to realize our goal by 2035. I will speak in the following three areas. First, the government is encouraging local institutions to set up branches in the mainland. For top-notch mainland institutions, most of them, they set up R&D bases in Shenzhen. We haven't been able to attract them to take root in Hong Kong. We should attract more higher education institutions from the mainland to set up R&D bases in Hong Kong, so that there can be more interaction between education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong. Apart from this, we should bring in high caliber talents from different places around the world, and we have to encourage the R&D projects in Hong Kong. Different places around the world to draw for talents, they provide incentives as well as financial support to talents. They also offer accommodation as well as quality education for their children. I hope the SAR government can offer more support to attract high-end talents to come to Hong Kong. In order to build an international INT center, the key is talent. Apart from trawling for talents from other places, we have to cultivate local talents as well as the next generation with potential. This is crucial. Currently, the education sector has been promoting STEAM education inside and outside classrooms with different modules. We should start early in this regard. Currently, we see INT-related programs only at the university level. In other places, INT education starts from an early age for students. A lot of INT enterprise founders, they founded their enterprises at a very young age. Can we start rolling out INT programs in secondary school level? We have different University of Applied Sciences in Hong Kong. Can we have INT secondary schools or scientific research schools at the secondary school level? We have to nurture children from when they are at a young age so that we won't fall behind compared to other places. Also, we need land to ensure technological development. We all look forward to the development of the Northern Metropolis University Town. In a logical meeting, we had a discussion on the development of our town May, and the Northern Metropolis University Town will be situated in our town May. The plot ratio suggested is 3. And for the residential development in the same district, the plot ratio is 6. Previously, we thought the campuses for different universities were large enough. However, we see that the campus for Hong Kong U is not big enough now. So I think the government should enhance the plot ratio so that we can promote new productive forces as well as R&D capabilities in local university. As I so submit, thank you.
Mr. Chen Yung, thank you, President. I'm grateful to the Directors of Bureau, and I'm grateful to Ms. Starry LEE for moving this motion. That is, we should grasp the strategic opportunity for the integrated development of innovation, technology, education, and talent. Many members have already spoken. They have given favorable comments. President Xi has said that we should become a strong nation in education, innovation, and technology. Well, I think this is the mission of every country in the world. We want to become strong in the 3 areas. And then, as President Xi has said, the 3 would be integrated because they would complement, supplement each other. And then we can have a multiplier effect. Now, we can't just stay the same. We should make great leaps forward. And we should also, for education, technology, and talents, the 3 of them should interact with each other. And then, as a result, all of them can go hand in hand. Mr. Li Ka-chiu, our CE, in the 2024 policy address, told us that the Committee on Education, Technology, and Talents will be set up, and in fact it has been set up, being chaired by the CS4A, and then 3 bureaus are brought together, and we can see the Directors of Bureau here with us today. So we've already got the institutional setup, and then members have given a lot of comments, like we want Hong Kong to become a hub for high caliber talents. I think Mr. LEE has in mind more than justice. But of course, we are aiming at the integrated development of the 3 elements. we have to adopt a holistic view. Otherwise, we'll lose sight of the strategic value. Members have been very specific in talking about the KPIs needed. The way I understand Mr. Lee's motion, I think this is but one of the finer details and one of the minor parts. What is important is to adopt a strategic view. We understand from some members that we can't just be too specific, too narrowly focused on a particular area. We need people who engage in basic research as well, and on that we can have further innovation, technological advancement. Well, it is said that we have got the master plan of building China into a leading country on education. It's a blueprint for the years 2024 to 35. China would become a leading nation in education. Hong Kong has 5 universities among the top 100 universities. We have to grasp this opportunity. If we lose the right timing, then we will lag behind. Now, for the Western countries led by the USA, I think they try to adopt a mentality that would not open up itself. Well, in this way, many talents and many scholars may want to come. If they are being driven out, if they are being persecuted, then we should embrace them with open arms. I think our northern metropolis university town can attract them to come, and we should use different sorts of incentives to retain them. They don't just come on their own. They would need a lot of supports, and we need to provide the right conditions to attract them to come. Mr. Lee has said that we mustn't lose sight of the strategic opportunity. Please do not forget the keywords. It is important. And in this way, the various bureaus can put their heads together and have a better understanding of the idea. Mr. Tan Yueheng. Thank you, President. Education, technology, and talents, the 3 of them should be developed in an integrated manner. I think this is a strategic vision imposed on us from the 3rd plenary session of the 20th CPC Central Committee. The 3 of them in the modernization of our motherland. I think internally they are integrated, they cannot be separated. Well, they all provide for the basis for our modernization. For the SARG, in the latest policy address, talked about education, technology, and talents being brought together under a committee. In this way, we are echoing the strategy of the central government. For our future development, I think we should focus on the 3 elements: education, technology, and talents. I think for the government, they fall under different departments, different bureaus. Among the 3, I think they need to have better communication and they have to be better coordinated. There is room for improvement, and in fact, we need to address the problem of inadequate integration between the industry and education, the industry and the institutions, etc. So I think we need to adopt a holistic view, and the development should be integrated so that we work under the Committee on Education, Technology and Talents. In this way, we can fine-tune the various policies pertaining to education, technology, and talents so that we become a hub for innovation and technology that would have global impacts, and we can discharge our duty as a hub for high caliber talents. I want to make 2 points. The government must make sure that it has got the right institution, and it should guide the different bureaus to be coordinated to have integrated development of education, technology, and talents, so that they will work together and they will become a single driving force. Now, in fact, we have the Labor and Welfare Department, we have the Innovation, Technology and Industry Bureau, as well as the Education Bureau. Of course, they have got different emphasis in their work. For us to integrate their development, I think among them, they need to cooperate so that they become even stronger. They should also make sure that there will be the removal of the barriers preventing the integration of industry and education, industry and research, etc. We have to make sure that there will be consistency in the policies. When we look at the subvention to be given to the universities, we need to look at the academic value. We should also look at the commercialization of the R&D outcomes, and then in this way we can pull together more innovation technology talents, and then we can encourage the commercialization of R&D outcomes. The second point is that we need to coordinate the admission and nurturing of innovation technology talents. We should have a healthy cycle. When it comes to the nurturing of local talents, our tertiary institutions, that is our universities, will become a very important hub for the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. We have to tie in with the current trends. We should also look forward with AI as well as other emerging industries. We need to find our niche, and we should also make sure that our universities, enterprises, research organizations can have in-depth cooperation. And when it comes to the admission of talents, of course, we've got different schemes like the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme, as well as the admission scheme for mainland talents and professionals. When we fetch the applications, we have to make sure that it is industry-oriented. We want to have the top-notch talents to come to Hong Kong. So I spoke. Mr. Kenneth Lau. Mr. President, in the 2024 policy address, the administration announced the establishment of the Committee on Education, Technology and Talents under the chairmanship of the CS4A, so as to have the integrated development of education, technology and talents. The talent admission schemes will be fine-tuned, and we will try to have synergy among the various measures, and we want Hong Kong to become an international hub for high caliber talents. Just last week, a meeting was held by the committee to see how talents can be attracted. If we want to have the integrated development of the three, other than having the talents for innovation and technology, we must also make sure that enterprises, research organizations, and universities can also cooperate among themselves and to serve this objective, and then we can contribute to the national development. Well, it is a very important element. Universities will play a very important role. Universities will nurture students. Universities must make sure that the R&D outcomes can be transformed into products. We have got a number of world-famous universities, and they are very experienced in research. But what about commercialization of the outcomes? I think the progress is still too slow. Now, I think the researchers must make sure that their outcomes can be transformed into products. We should learn from the experience of Shenzhen. The Shenzhen municipality government said that their universities and their researchers must we must give not less than 70% of the patent benefits to the creators of the patents. But in the case of Hong Kong, it is not at the same level. If the research teams can get more from their R&D outcomes, or even they can own their patent rights, and if they can be given sort of more return, then it will incentivize them, and then more researchers will be attracted to come to Hong Kong. Well, it is said that when we appraise our teaching staff at universities, we overemphasize the number of times that the academic papers are quoted. So they're just too busy writing academic papers and not focus more on research work. So to me, I think our tertiary institutions should learn from overseas experience. That is, we should give more emphasis to the commercialization of R&D outcomes. Well, in fact, it's important to have collaboration among the government, industry, research, etc. Well, in fact, many enterprises do not understand the universities. I think we should make good use of the land available in the northern metropolis so the enterprises and the institutions can cooperate, and then the enterprises can make known their demands, the needs, and universities will carry out the research. It is like answering the questions posed by the enterprises. In this way, enterprises tell universities what they need, and universities can produce and provide something needed by the enterprises. Education, technology, and talents should be integrated in the development, and then we can break down the barriers. Universities will provide the talents will drive innovation, and then the innovation will drive technology. It will become a healthy cycle. So we are faced with a strategic opportunity. It is high time for us to break down the barriers and the silos. I think we should encourage the research teams to commercialize their R&D outcomes. In this way, Hong Kong can become an international innovation technology hub, and then we can contribute more to our national development. I spoke in support of the motion as well as the various amendments.
Mr. Ma Fong Kwok. Thank you, President. Knowledge changes our destiny. Invigorating the country through science is mentioned by President Xi Jinping in the 20th report. Talents are the key to our future. We change our positioning from tourism, trading, commercial, and so on. In order to change the entire engine, we need to change the public's mindset. Transactions can take place in a minute, but the grooming of talent takes a much longer time. Dr. Starry LEE mentioned today that we need to seize upon these strategic opportunities to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong. Manufacturing industry has been very buoyant. It is not easy to make investments in industries that need a long time to see returns. After reunification, our country has been devoting a lot of resources to developing industries. Developing technologies, rather. We would be lagging behind if we do not do the same. We have been playing the catch-up game, which has brought a lot of challenge, a lot of opportunities to Hong Kong. The chief executive announced that we have to build Hong Kong into an international hub for talents. It shows the resolve of the administration. At the end of 2022, the administration implemented talent admission schemes, and we have received a total of 380,000 applications. We need to enhance the level of talents, and we also need to help them with upskilling. Well, I think the government is actually placing emphasis on attracting high-end talents. But in the course of commercialization process, do we have sufficient skilled workers? Do we have sufficient laborers? I agree with the practice adopted by Singapore. Their competitiveness of manpower ranks the highest. They also rank very high in other ranking. I found that Singapore has implemented different schemes to help their citizens to upskill, to help students to learn more skills, and so on. Different training courses are provided to employees to ensure that they are up to standard. It is like providing different parts to a machine so that the machine can function smoothly. But the entire supply chain comprises equally important parts. They provide upward mobility for employees. Invigorating the country through science. This is the theme. The motion and amendments are about promoting the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. I agree that we need to start from the primary school level. At university, there has been an enhancement in the level of teaching staff. But what about primary and secondary schools? I hope that the government will review the upskilling and training for teachers, as well as the training for primary and secondary school teachers. Thank you. I so submit.
唔該，主席。
Mr. Chan. Thank you, President. I speak in support of the original motion and the proposed amendments. I very much agree with what Dr. Starry LEE said. There should be integrated development of education, technology, and talents to promote commercialization of R&D outcomes. I do have some suggestions. Research and development is, of course, important, but basic scientific education is also important. I thank Dr. Starry LEE for proposing the motion, therefore giving me the opportunity to talk about this. We have heard many members talk about different aspects of technology, and I would specifically want to talk about how we can popularize science. And I have visited schools. Many said they wanted to become lawyers or doctors. Some these days would want to become influencers, but not many said they wanted to become scientists. We need to enhance awareness on science so that people know how science can be used to improve lives. Science popularization will inspire the youngsters to have an interest in science and join science careers. And in future, that should provide us with a pool of talents. Not only should we rely on incoming talents, in the long run, we should nurture local talents. I very much agree with what Mr. Dennis Leung said in his proposed amendment to promote STEAM education. The country attaches great importance to science popularization. It says the country, it would lay foundations for development of science in the country. So the country has the National 14th Plan for Science Popularization. I urge the government to follow suit and set up plans for science popularization in Hong Kong. As for attracting top scientists to set up laboratories in Hong Kong, I think the government has much room for improvement. We can attract top-notch R&D enterprises by explaining to them what our policies are. I thank the ITIB for making arrangements to Professor Sundong is here. He talked about how for some big data enterprises or AI enterprises who are very much interested in moving into the loop, and they have provided us with some information. So for the laboratories moving into the loop, we need to know about the plans. There should be synergy, and if we have laboratories moving into the loop, we should have even more laboratories being interested. The plans we're moving in, it is important to know them because these are what laboratories would consider when they want to move into the loop. We need to make contributions to the country to go global, and we should play on our role as a connector. If the Bureau thinks the same, you should explain your policies even more and provide more facilitating measures. These are my suggestions. I so submit speaking in support of the motion and the amendments. Mr. Yim Kong. Thank you, President. I thank Dr. Starry LEE for proposing the motion. In the latest policy address, the Chief Executive followed the resolution adopted at the third plenary session of the 20th CPC to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong, to create an international hub for high-caliber talents in Hong Kong. We have many top tertiary institutions in Hong Kong. We have favorable conditions to develop into an international hub for high-caliber talents. Since the 13th National 5-Year Plan, we have over 60 key state laboratories. We have completed many projects for high-speed rail, energy, etc. Core technologies were developed. It has really helped promote development of economy and society. It has laid great foundations for the strength of the country. And we need to develop our functional positioning further by promoting the integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong. Take Shenzhen as an example. Their INT enterprises are very strong. They account, the value they provide account for 20% of the GDP. Right now, we only have 2% of such contribution in Hong Kong. We have a 61% increase in recurrent expenditure of tertiary institutions. Yearly increase, it is 5.4%. So we have spent much on education expenditure. It seems that the contribution tertiary institutions making to GDP are quite low. I'm not calling for cutting education expenditure, but we really need to do more to make good use of such expenditure. We need talents because talents are important for making breakthroughs. It is also an engine for growth of the economy and developing new quality productive forces. I have a few suggestions. We have state key laboratories in Hong Kong. We should leverage on them and promote cross-institutional teams, cross-disciplinary teams, and conduct research and continuously produce output that is innovative. We also need to tie in with our plans for various infrastructure development and work with top-notch INT enterprises. For example, the collaboration between Huawei and Polytechnic University is a good example. We should also promote commercialization of the collaboration between the government, the industry, and the academic and research sectors. In response to market changes, we should review the talent admission schemes. We should review the composition of the talent list to make sure we're attracting top-notch talents. Peking universities, first principal, Mr. Choi, Tsai said. We need to make sure we are nurturing the right talents because they are foundations of society. Not only should we focus on rankings for universities, we need to make sure they are making contributions to society, actual contributions, so as to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong. We have much to do in doing that. I so submit speaking in support of the motion and the proposed amendments.
Mr. Jesse Chang. Thank you, President. I speak in support of the motion moved by Dr. Starry LEE. From a macro point of view, we need to promote integrated development of the three sectors. Before I speak, I declare interest. I am the founding chairman of the Hong Kong Top Talent Services Association, as well as a consultant to a local INT company. Now, INT productive forces is the major drive of the country's economy. It also puts us as an unprecedented path for developing our INT sector. Now, we were given staunch support from the country to become an international INT hub. It points out a clear direction for our future development and provides us with a staunch support. We have the obligation and responsibility to seize this historic opportunity. Through integrated developments of education, technology, and talents, we need to enhance our global competitiveness. Before I move on to the specific suggestions, I have to emphasize that we need a combination of measures. We need collaborative efforts and interactions between various bureaus and departments. For the government, it is responsible for nurturing talents and enhancing collaboration between the research, academia, and the industry to make this combinated measures happen. And also, it takes time to see the results. But we can't wait to kickstart the policy. The country is moving to the era of the 15th five-year plan. The speed is overwhelming. We need to catch up with the pace of the country. We need to focus on three specific areas. First, nurturing local talents while introducing international talents. Now, the three components in the integrated development is complementary of each other. Many members have said that in order to support INT developments, we have to move away from the traditional focus on doctor training, legal training, and accounting. We need to nurture our own INT and scientific talents and also introduce international talents. We also need to reform our education system to enhance students' application skills. We need to provide more quality school places to make Hong Kong an international post-secondary education center. Now, I have studied the talent nurturing policies in many places, and I have been focusing on how we can provide support to the top talents in Hong Kong. Children education is the most attractive factor for international talents. Now, the Education Bureau's officials told us that they would adjust the diversity admission to Hong Kong's universities. Now, it drew a lot of attentions and concerns from top talents inside and outside Hong Kong. Now, I am worried that these amendments, no matter how minor, would lead to a great impact for the talents. Now, a warm reminder to the government officials. Any minor adjustments to any components among the three sectors will lead to great impact. Second, we need to put equal focus on introducing experts as well as entrepreneurs. We need to introduce capital, talents, and entrepreneurs. Now, I declare interest. I'm the founding member of my association. We need to improve the research environments and attract top-notch scientists and enterprises to come to Hong Kong so as to galvanize our brand. We need to provide a platform for researchers and entrepreneurs to commercialize the products. 3, we need to encourage transformation of research outcomes. To do that, the government has been encouraging our post-secondary institutions to collaborate with the industries to transform their products. I have proposed to the government that every year there should be at least 4 local inventions purchased by the government. With the number of bureaus we have, a total of 16 inventions would be purchased by the government each year. I support the motion as well as the amendments. We need to build Hong Kong into an international high-quality talent hub for the country and the world. Thank you. Mr. Duncan Chiu, President, I speak in support of the motion moved by Dr. Starry LEE. Integrated development of education, technology, and talents is the strategic support for building the country into a socialist, strong country. It is also one of the major factors in building a great GPA. Now, with an integrated development between the 3 factors, we can speed up the development of the GPA and help the country to become a modern, strong power. Now, we need a comprehensive top-tier design as well as a comprehensive roadmap. In recent times, the government has attached a lot of importance to AI development. In the future, there will be a lot more manpower demand for AI development. The government must project the manpower demand as well as preparing our educational system for this purpose. Do we have sufficient AI talents in the future to fill the gap? How can we introduce talents to fill the local gap of manpower? How can we encourage local youth to understand and take an interest in AI at an early stage? In the past, many secondary schools offered a chance for students to get in touch with STEAM. However, the funding schemes offered by the government lacks coordination. As a result, the curriculum is chaotic. The government hasn't offered a standard on STEAM education. A lot of schools have been trying STEAM education, but there is no universal standard to gauge the effectiveness of their curriculums. Now, in recent times, there are 2 new modules offered by the government. For example, a coding module for senior primary students, as well as ethical use of AI for senior secondary students. This is a good start. I look forward to seeing more standardized curriculum modules for this purpose. For example, coding, programming, computational thinking, and so on. There are lots of indicators to measure students' learning progress. For AI, there are going to be more and more clear indicators as well. We should make use of these indicators to gauge our learning outcomes. Also, by the end of last year, the Ministry of Education published a notice on enhancing AI education for primary and secondary students. There are 6 areas of measures. It points out that by 2030, AI education should be popularized in secondary curriculum. We need to ensure that students can learn and apply AI in phases. For senior primary and junior secondary curriculum, the curriculum will focus on understanding and applying AI. For senior secondary curriculum, the curriculum will focus on applied research on innovation of AI. The curriculum combines scientific subjects as well as applied subjects. Among them, AI ethics is also important. The subject teaches secondary students to use generative AI responsibly. Now, schools will host AI festivals, AI debate sessions, and so on to combine AI education with students' daily life. The paper specifies clearly how primary and secondary schools should pursue AI education in a systematic manner. We should make reference to it. Now, several members, including me, paid a visit to the mainland. In Anhui, we visited a school which used AI to teach students. It was a very interactive learning approach, which was very engaging for students. 20 years ago, the term digital divide became a thing. Those with and without access to the internet would see a wider gap in their wealth and their academic qualification. It is the same for AI. Those with and without access to AI will see a major difference in terms of learning capabilities and upward mobility. We need to be prepared and start AI training from primary and secondary school. I so submit to support the motion and the amendments. Dr. So Chang-Wing. President, Dr. Starry Lee's motion today is timely. It is urgent for Hong Kong to develop our INT prowess. It is also the key for us to pursue our 8-center positioning. Integrated development of education, technology, and talents is a development strategy proposed by the 20th CPC and the 3rd Plenum. The emphasis is on coordinated implementation of the strategies of invigorating the country through science and technology and education. It is a major national strategy with foresight. It will help Hong Kong to build an ecosystem for INT. We need to pursue the integrated development strategies. Because the 3 components, education, technology, and talents, are closely related. They are a symbiosis. However, prior to this, the government's policies on the 3 areas lack coordination. There was a lack of communication and consistency between the policies in the 3 areas. As a result, we failed to achieve synergized developments of the 3 components. The government should pursue integrated development of the 3 components, including encouraging collaboration between the research, academia, and industrial sectors, and also enhancing the educational system to nurture the talents we need. We need to build a Study in Hong Kong brand and build Hong Kong into an international hub for high-caliber talents. Now, the trinity of development can ensure synergy in the government strategies. The government has invested a huge amount of public money into education. The government must utilize the investment effectively and prevent overlapping of resources and lack of efficiency. In particular, given the fiscal position we are in, we must be prudent in utilizing our public money. Second, from a macro point of view, the coordinated development of the 3 components will give rise to a strong development impetus. It will meet our needs to develop ourselves into the 8 centers. That's why the government must have a centralized planning platform to ensure that the productive components and resources can be shared among the 3 sectors. To build Hong Kong into an international hub for high-caliber talents, the government has implemented a number of Draw for Talents measures. We are beginning to see the results now. A large amount of top talents have been pulled in Hong Kong to serve our needs. However, to make our efforts more targeted, I suggest the government create a synergy between the various Draw for Talents measures. The government has been providing incentives for enterprises from the mainland and overseas to bring the talents along to Hong Kong. These enterprises bring along capital technology know-how as well as international talents to Hong Kong. This gives a stage for platform for talents to shine in Hong Kong. I so submit.
Mr. Lillian Kwok. Thank you, President. I thank Dr. Starry LEE for moving the motion on seizing strategic opportunities to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong. What does integrated development of education, technology, and talents mean? In the 20th Congress report, it is said that there should be integrated development of the three elements. It said that talents is the foundation to building a modern Chinese nation. In 2024, President Xi Jinping said in a meeting that we must develop new qualities, productive forces, and promote virtual cycle among education, technology, and talents. In other words, there should be synergy among education, technology, and talents so that they become a driving force for new quality productive forces. The government has established a committee on technology, education, and talents to coordinate and promote the development of education, technology, and talents in an integrated manner. They will become a driving force for our community, for the development of new quality productive forces. So I think that the committee can collect views from different sectors by consulting various stakeholders so that our talents can be more pragmatic and meet the needs of the people, so that we have more measures to promote a new quality productive forces and make our resources allocation more effective. The purpose of having integrated development of the three factors is to develop new quality productive forces. And this force is essential to the development of science here. So I support the original motion on the collaboration between schools and the sector. I think that we should make good use of our enterprises to develop education, technology, and talents in an integrated manner to promote the development of our community. For example, the collaboration between Huawei and Lingnan University, they established academic institutions. Various universities also work with the industrial sectors to take forward various projects. Research team of universities will establish their own research institutes at various enterprises. So this shows that the enterprises is a force to promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. In turn, this promote the development of new quality productive forces. President Xi Jinping said last year that we must coordinate and implement the strategy of integrating our country through science and technology. We need to promote the development of education, technological advancement, and we should nurture talents. On the 19th of January 2025, our country promulgated the blueprint for building strong education systems. And the blueprint should be implemented in 2035. There should be an synergistic development among education, technology, and talents. We should improve our education systems and reform our framework. And we should align ourselves with the development of education in the Greater Bay Area. So we see here that development of talents and nurturing of them is very important. While the government has formulated a number of policies to trial for talents, We need to promote the integrated development of the three factors in order to seize the opportunities offered by a country, so that we can facilitate the rejuvenation of a great Chinese nation. Mr. Lee Chen-kang. Thank you, President. I thank Dr. Lee for moving the motion on seizing strategic opportunities to promote integrated development of education, technology, and talents in Hong Kong. In the motion, Dr. Lee talked about the promotion of the development of education, technology, and talents. Regarding the relevant development, well, this is also a focus of our country, as our country has lifted itself out of poverty. It's now for us to work on high-quality development. For us to achieve this, we must promote the development of new quality productive forces, and we must rejuvenate our country through science and technology. Only through the integrated development of the three factors can we achieve a Chinese dream and rejuvenate our country. How can we play our part in this goal? We have the support of our motherland, and we also have a country's policies on the Greater Bay Area, and there are a lot of universities in the mainland, and there are state laboratories in Hong Kong. Dr. Starry LEE talked about collaboration with mainland universities. We have up to 985 universities in the mainland, atop of the double first-class universities. Among the 985 universities, can we perhaps create courses in collaboration with them so that local youth can take those courses? Say, for example, the Nanshan campus of Hong Kong UST and the Hong Kong U campus in Shenzhen can work with mainland students by offering them undergraduate or graduate courses. I think this is the trend. President, we should not overemphasize on international ranking. That's what some other members said, but I don't agree completely. With a better ranking, it's easier for universities to recruit better students. Are we dedicating too much resources into improving our rankings? But if we reduce the resources that we allocate to universities, then we may fall into a vicious cycle, in the sense that we won't be able to recruit top-notch students in order to achieve our goal on science and technology advancement. Say, for example, the Thames University ranking, 59% of them focus on research volume and research quality, capabilities, and influence. All these points are gained by publishing research papers. By publishing more research papers, universities can achieve better ranking, and in turn, they'll be able to recruit better teachers and create a better learning environment for students. We need to strike a balance between chasing international rankings and resources allocation. Lastly, how can we commercialize our R&D outcome? I have a suggestion. We can work with the Middle East Capital and Family Office by establishing a fund to invest in research and development, and through state-owned enterprises and private enterprises in the mainland, we can sell our products in the Greater Bay Area.
他言想發言。
Does any other member wish to speak? If not, Dr. Starry LEE, you may now speak on the amendments. First of all, I would like to thank 35 members for expressing their views on the motion that I proposed. I also thank the 4 members who have proposed amendments. I would like to thank the officials from the 3 bureaus for attending in person and listening to the views of members. On the amendments, first of all, on Professor Priscilla LEUNG's amendments. She talked about promoting AI-related education based on human values, civilization, the spirit of the rule of law, etc. I listened closely to her speech. I very much agree with what she said. Because in future, with AI development, it is important to incorporate human values into that. So I very much agree with what she said. Ms. Chen Yuet-ming's amendments are mainly on drive to publish the Northern Metropolis University Town Development Conceptual Framework this year to talk about the land use arrangements of the university town so as to allow the making of corresponding planning and deployments by post-secondary institutions. I have listened to the views of other members. Many other members actually express concern also about the development plan of the university town. I urge the government to announce the details as soon as possible to allow stakeholders to make plans as early as possible. And this would tie in with the national goal of rejuvenating the nation through science and education. I therefore would like to express my support for Ms. Chen Yuet-ming's amendments. As for what Professor Chow said in his amendments, he talked about removing institutionally restrictions imposed by universities on teaching and research staff in conducting the commercialization of research outcomes. Communicated with the professor before the meeting, actually. Some expressed concern to him that removing would be too strong a word. I, in principle, agree with Professor Chow-Kong's stance. As I said earlier, I wanted to have new policies from the government to encourage teaching and research staff to engage in research projects with commercial value. We have many influential academic institutions. We have many R&D talents in Hong Kong. We've invested heavily in I&T. We should see significant contributions to GDP from such. We don't have as significant contributions at the moment because of some institutional restrictions. And therefore we're lagging behind other mainland cities or other cities in the world. But let me say for the record that if we are removing in a broad brush approach, it would be too extreme. So I do support the direction, but I think as we are having this as a record, we should have something more of a gradual approach. But let me say this because I support the direction, so I also support Professor Chow-Kong's amendments. Mr. Dennis Leung raised a number of specific measures. I would like to say this. For in particular, he said that there should be teaching and research staff focusing more on transforming the outcomes of scientific research work and tertiary institutions to review their systems for teaching and research staff on this. I have some reservations on this. But this, after all, is a motion without legislative effect. I will abstain from voting on Mr. Dennis Leung's amendment. But let me say this, Mr. Dennis Leung has the same vision as I do. Thank you. Please, your time's up. Undersecretary for Labor and Welfare.
President, I thank Dr. Starry LEE for moving the motion and the 5 members who moved amendments, as well as other members who have spoken on promoting the integrated development of education, technology, and talents. I will respond to the overall measures. The Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry and the Secretary for Education will later speak on their policy areas. Talents are the first resource. According to the manpower projection of the Labor and Welfare Bureau for 2023, the vast majority of industries are facing manpower shortages of varying degree, with the shortage being more obvious in the innovation and technology industry, where the manpower demand for the innovation and technology industry is projected to increase from 60,200 in 2023 to 96,400 in 2028 and to exceed 100,000 in 2030. It is estimated that the I&T sector will face a manpower shortage of 18,000 to 23,000 by 2028. Highly demanded occupations include project managers, data analysts, and innovation and professionals in areas such as AI, new energy, technology, microelectronics, and pharmaceuticals. In the face of a severe labor shortage, the government has not only stepped up local training, but also actively recruited talents with different academic and professional backgrounds here through the talent admission scheme with different positioning, so as to fill local job vacancies and enrich the talent pool in Hong Kong. In terms of attracting innovation and technology talents, apart from the technology talent admission scheme implemented by the ITIB, other talent admission schemes administered by the LWB have also attracted many innovative talents to Hong Kong. In the past 2 years, about 15% of the successful applicants under the Top Talent Pass scheme came from the I&T sector, while nearly 23% of the successful applicants under the Quality Migrant Admission scheme came from the IT and telecommunications sector. The government has included in the talent list a number of professional trades in the IT sector that lack local manpower supply, so as to facilitate the admission of technology talents through the relevant admission schemes. In terms of industry sector, the list of talents or the talent list is mostly widely used in the financial services in the IT sector. And we are reviewing the talent list and will promulgate the results of our review. And Mr. Tenkapiu said that there is no University of Israel in QS, but actually there are 3 Israeli universities on the list, and we welcome the graduates to come to Hong Kong to develop their career here. The government needs to ensure that the measures for admission of talents are competitive so as to effectively meet our manpower needs and to tie in with the direction of integrated development of education, technology, and manpower. Under the leadership of the Committee on Education, Technology and Talent, LWB will implement the first half of this year the initiative to revamp the talent regime announced by the Chief Executive in his 2024 policy address, including the enhancement of the general employment policy and the admission of mainland talents and professional schemes to allow non-degree holders who are young and with relevant professional and technical qualifications and experience to apply for admission to join the skilled trades, which are facing acute shortage of manpower, and to set a quota ceiling on the number of skilled personnel to be imported. It will also set a quota and will also establish a new mechanism under the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme to proactively reach out to and invite top talents who are crucial to the future development of Hong Kong to come here. These leading talents are targeted by countries all over the world and may not necessarily take the trouble of submitting their applications. So we should work tirelessly and we should proactively take the initiative to reach out to these talents, to invite them to come here. And our secretary will work on the issues raised by some of the members. We will work with the LWB and the ITIB to pull together talents from various sectors to promote the innovation development of IT. We will strive to build a hub for international high-caliber talents here. At the same time, the Hong Kong Talent Engage will strengthen its comprehensive support services and related promotional works for talents arriving in Hong Kong. The Talent Engage will continue to provide assistance to talents according to their individual needs. It will also set up promotion of its online platform to provide full range of information and expand its partnership network by organizing more job fairs in collaboration with the industry and employer groups to facilitate job matching for talents seeking employment and assisting them to stay and develop in Hong Kong. The government will continue to attract and retain talents, pull together international high-caliber talents so as to meet the manpower demand arising from the strategic positioning of the 8 centers under the 14th Five-Year Plan. We hope to contribute to the high-quality development of Hong Kong and the building of a strong nation through modernization. Thank you.
Under Secretary for Education, President, I thank members for their views. I also thank Dr. Starry LEE for her motion and the 4 members for their amendments. I also thank other members for their views on how Hong Kong can more effectively nurture top caliber talents through education to support technological development. In the recently promulgated action plan for building a strong education nation, the country gave importance to a robust education system as a pillar for technology and talent, which is vital for the development of an international technological innovation center and a hub for high-caliber talents. Education is the key to enhancing the country's innovative system. Hong Kong will continue to serve the country's needs with its own strengths by aligning with the country's objectives in education development, the Belt and Road Initiative, the GBA development, as well as pooling talents in support of Hong Kong's 8 centers positioning under the 14th Five-Year Plan. Hong Kong's post-secondary institutions have been conducting a wide range of world-class research projects and have gained worldwide recognition. UGC-funded universities offer first-class research environments for the pursuit of outstanding research outcomes. The Research Grants Council, or the RGC, promotes cross-disciplinary and cross-institutional research projects through implementing collaborative research schemes, including the Collaborative Research Fund, the Areas of Excellence Scheme, the Theme-Based Research Scheme, the Research Impacts Fund, and the Strategic Topics Grant. Various institutions have actively participated in cross-disciplinary research. Among the research outcomes submitted by universities in the end of 2019 for the 2020 research assessment exercise, some 3,700 were cross-disciplinary research outcomes, representing some 24% of the total. According to universities, some 3,000 cross-disciplinary research outcomes will be submitted for the 2026 research assessment exercise, which highlights the strength of their cross-disciplinary research foundation. The RGC attaches importance to the local, regional, and international impacts of researchers. The Research Impacts Fund, established in 2018, incentivizes local scholars to consider the potential benefits and scope of impacts of their researches, so that local universities will deliver more impactful projects with transferability and initiate collaboration with partners outside the academia. The duration of funded projects ranges from 3 to 5 years. Now, under one country, two system, we enjoy the unique strengths of having the backing of the country and staying connected with the world. Synergy between GBA cities also offer a unique platform for collaboration in education. So far, the 4 UGC-funded universities have set up campuses in the mainland cities of the GBA. They have entered into collaborative framework with top-tier schools in the country and create favorable and creative learning environments for students from both places. Other post-secondary institutions in Hong Kong have maintained contacts with the top-tier universities in the mainland and explore collaborative opportunities in research outcome application and commercialization. Now, compared with publicly funded schools, self-financing institutions have the flexibility to rise up to the market's needs and nurture talents needed by the market. They are better positioned to respond to the ever-changing manpower needs of the sectors. Their role is important in our efforts to become an international post-secondary education hub. We will obtain enhancement measures from the Ministry of Education so as to align the admission quota for non-local students between self-financing and publicly funded institutions, attracts more non-local professional talents to Hong Kong. As members rightly pointed out, young people are the future of Hong Kong. The new primary science curriculum will be launched this September, and the junior secondary science curriculum is being updated. The reform in science education emphasizes scientific exploration and cross-disciplinary learning. Through experiments and application, students' interest, curiosity, and creativity in science will be nurtured. I thank members for their constructive views on this. Concerning the caliber of our teaching force, the EDB will offer more training courses to keep teachers up to date with the development of AI. We have listened to views from the academia, school heads, as well as teachers on the need to offer AI training to students. We have established a task force under the Committee on Science Education of the Curriculum Development Council for this purpose of reviewing the scientific education in schools. Now, we have heard members raising the concern on the developments of the Northern Metropolis University town and whether it can leverage its geographical advantages to consolidate our status as an international education hub. In fact, we welcome cross-institutional, cross-disciplinary, and cross-boundary collaboration projects between local and overseas prestigious institutions in the university town. With a flexible and innovative operating model, these institutions can offer trademark programs to undergraduates, postgraduates, and professionals in innovative, frontier, and cutting-edge technologies. With a presence in the university town, the schools can become superconnectors which pull complementary streams into R&D and academic exchange activities. This will take Hong Kong's academic and research capabilities to the next level in the world, while supplying the industrial, academic, and research talents necessary for the development of the surrounding areas like the Santine Technopole. We will continue to work with the stakeholders and the institutions. In the first half of next year, we will publish the Northern Metropolis University Town Conceptual Development Plan. We will keep our education system up to date. We will align with the national strategy of integrated development between education, research, and talents. We will support the primary, secondary, and post-secondary education sectors to align themselves with the nation's goals and enhance our students' competitiveness. Thank you.
Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry. President, I would like to thank Dr. Starry LEE for proposing the motion and the 4 members who have proposed amendments and 34 members who have expressed their views. Just now, the Undersecretary for Labor and Welfare and the Undersecretary for Education have responded to issues under the purview of their respective bureaus. In the following, I will give a consolidated response to members' views relating to innovation and technology. A number of members touch on the importance of promoting integrated development of education, technology, and talents. In this direction, we endeavor to implement the direction of promoting development of technology with talents, leading industries with technology, and attracting talents with industries. Expedite the development of the INT ecosystem and the INT industry. Provide more development opportunities for INT talents in Hong Kong, and establish a pool of local INT talents so as to realize the vision to develop Hong Kong into an international INT center. Hong Kong has a strong foundation in basic research. We have 5 of the world's top 100 universities in Hong Kong. We've made breakthroughs and our research capabilities are well recognized. For example, Hong Kong's flagship R&D project, the Inner Hong Kong Research Clusters, has successfully attracted more than 30 institutions and R&D organizations from 12 economies around the world to engage in R&D collaborations with local universities and research institutes. It has also attracted some 2,500 local and overseas talents. To further consolidate our strengths in upstream R&D, in particular in technology areas of strategic significance in which we have a competitive edge that are identified in the Hong Kong INT Development Blueprint, we formally established the Hong Kong Microelectronics Research and Development Institute MRDI last year to facilitate R&D of the 3rd generation semiconductors. The Cyberport AI Supercomputing Center was commissioned at the end of last year. It provides advanced computing capabilities. The government commends preparations for the construction of the third Hong Kong research cluster that focuses on advanced manufacturing and materials, energy and sustainable development to attract world-class R&D teams to collaborate with local institutions, promoting international R&D collaboration and pulling together the world's I&T talents. In addition, the government is inviting institutions to submit proposals for the $6 billion subsidy program for the setup of life and health technology research institutes. We also will launch the $3 billion Frontier Technology Research Support Scheme to provide funding support for local universities to acquire relevant equipment and conduct research projects led by top researchers to further support local frontier technology research and enhance Hong Kong's R&D capabilities through a multi-pronged approach. Apart from consolidating our advantages in upstream basic research, we are actively promoting the development of midstream and downstream I&T so as to drive the integrated development of the I&T ecosystem and provide more development opportunities for I&T talents. The Chief Executive has proposed 10 billion programs in 3 consecutive policy addresses, including the $10 billion Raise Plus scheme to provide funding support to university R&D teams with potential to promote the transformation and commercialization of R&D outcomes. The scheme also stipulates that no less than 70% of the benefits of relevant IP rights should be allocated to the university teams or the inventors to provide greater incentives for the commercialization of R&D outcomes with great potential for transformation. Secondly, the $10 billion NIAS New Industrialization Acceleration Scheme was launched to provide funding support for industries to set up smart production facilities in Hong Kong. Thirdly, a $10 billion I&T industry-oriented fund will be set up to strengthen the efforts to guide the market in investing in emerging and future industries. On the other hand, for the Loop, we will have the park in the Loop formally enter the operation stage later this year. The operator is making preparations for the opening of the park and is working hard to attract top enterprises and talents from overseas and the mainland to come to the park. I believe that with the various measures to help develop the I&T ecosystem, we will be able to fully realize the vision of attracting talents with the development of industries. To attract talents from the mainland and overseas, we have implemented fast-track processing for the admission of mainland and overseas I&T talents to Hong Kong to undertake R&D work through the Technology Talent Admission Scheme. The scheme is regularly reviewed to keep pace with the development of I&T in Hong Kong. We have also included under the talent list a number of professional occupations in I&T to ensure appropriate manpower supply. On nurturing local talents, we launch various initiatives and funding schemes targeting at different stages of learning or life, including nurturing the public's interest in I&T from an early age through subsidizing primary and secondary schools to organize extracurricular activities, as well as encouraging and assisting undergraduates who have studied STEM-related subjects to pursue a career in I&T. In recent years, as Hong Kong's I&T ecosystem has become increasingly vibrant, more and more mainland and overseas enterprises have chosen to set up R&D bases or expand the scale of their R&D bases in Hong Kong, thus providing more development opportunities for R&D talents. In addition, many mainland research institutes and universities intend or are prepared to set up R&D institutes in Hong Kong, actively pulling together more mainland and overseas research talents to carry out R&D work in Hong Kong. Hong Kong should leverage on its advantage of being highly internationalized to actively build an international hub for high-caliber talents in order to make great contributions to the country. President, once again, I would like to thank the many members who have spoken today for their valuable advice. Under the leadership of the Chief Secretary for Administration, my team and I will continue to work to attract outstanding talents in I&T and strive to realize the vision of developing Hong Kong into an international I&T center. We will also work with the EDB and LWB to achieve synergy, promote the integrated development of education, technology, and talents, and promote the coordinated development of technology innovation, industrial innovation, and manpower so as to contribute to the high-quality development of Hong Kong and the country. President, I so submit. I now call upon Professor Chow-Meng-Kong to move an amendment. President, I move my amendment. I propose the question to you that Professor Chow-Meng-Kong's amendment be passed. I now put the question to you as stated. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment passed. Ms. Chen Yuet-ming, as an amendment is passed, you may move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that Ms. Chen Yuet-ming's further amendment be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment passed. Mr. Dennis Leung, as amendments are passed, you may move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that Mr. Dennis Leung's further amendment be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is not agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment negative. Professor Priscilla Leung, as amendments are passed, you may move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that Professor Priscilla Leung's further amendment be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the amendment passed. Dr. Starry LEE, you have 38 seconds to reply, then the debate will come to a close. Dr. Starry LEE, when we talk about integrated development, we need a top-level design to steer that. So for the 35 members' views, I urge the administration to convey the views to the relevant bureaus and the Committee on Education, Technology and Talents to discuss such, so that we can make our contributions in developing new quality productive forces. I now put the question to you that Dr. Starry LEE's motion as amended by Professor Chow-Meng-Kong, Ms. Chen Yuet-ming, and Professor Priscilla Leung be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present. I declare the motion as amended passed.
Members' motion with no